What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Witch Doctor. I'm your host, the Witch Doctor. Here we got Marcel. What's been going on, bro?
Oh, not much. I've been just dealing with setting up sound stuff all day through
Okay, so
a virtual mixer.
right. So this video we have here, we're gonna be taking a look at a little bit later, but we're waiting on getting a few more people in.
Oh
And
yeah, he told me around what time he would be here. Oh, is that on the
it's cool.
screen right now?
Whenever, he's been on the show a
Yeah.
bunch, so we get started and we get going, and then the following it'll take a minute for everybody to
Yeah,
kind of,
yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
yeah. So it's all good, and plus we're a little bit early, just by a few minutes. So what's up,
Yeah.
Chris?
Why can't I see the chat? Oh, I got it closed. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, Mandy's here. Tie Shark's here. Hey guys.
What's up, Mandy? Purple Robe, mind you. I'm reading some of y'all's comments. The comments have been crazy lately.
Oh,
Not
in
crazy,
the
like explosive. Good. I like it.
Yeah.
The energy's been good. I've been liking it a lot. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing the right things. Who knows? All right. So we got Dane's here. What's up? Beautiful MFers. Mandy, what's up? We start
Mandy's here. I think that's Chase there. Chase is here.
Yeah, guys, you can go ahead and come on.
Okay.
At the end of this, we might do like a stream roulette. That might be fun. I could always take it off.
Yeah. No, that'd be great.
Yeah. Gnostic. All right. So you want to wait on him for this, or you want to play it now? So
No, let's wait on him because he specifically wants to go over the video. Yeah.
Cool. I haven't watched it.
He did too. He released another one today that's got Gnostic's face right in the thing. Seaman calls out everybody. He's got like Steven and Bart Urban and fucking. I don't want to ruin the video if nobody's seen it.
He's way worse than I was in the beginning. As far as like the amount of guys he had in his collage, I was like, I did that too, but it wasn't like in a bad way. It was just the people that I had been watching, so it was really cool. But yeah, everybody's left. We had guests in town for a little while. We have a new member of the family. He's eating right now with mom. So she was nice enough to let me come and do my thing tonight because I don't know. I was thinking it wasn't going to be as much, but I kind of kept doing them because we were waiting on her to have the baby for like an extra week. And I was going crazy. So I was making videos all the time. And even the witch slayer stuff, I actually just took it down, just because it was like, it's not really part of, it's not really how the algorithm works. You have too much stuff that's in too different, too conflicting of genres. I had like 3 different things going on just in one episode of that. You had farm animals, chickens and goats and stuff. And you had working out stuff, training my guys and whatnot. 2 friends that are doing a show. It's their first time. So I'm just going to, help them get through it. Whatever, not really coaching them, but it's pretty cool. How's my mic, bro? Is it good?
Yeah, you sound good.
Cool. Let's see. We got Mandy Moorhall says Seaman does garbage scholarship and doesn't have the luxury of being a satirist. I made that bullshit article that the Quest for the Burning Purple in how did I put it? Ethnobotanical and mythological interpretations. And that whole thing at the end, I do mention something to the effect of, and I kind of quoted the Bible a little bit, he who can receive it, let him receive it. Like, if you just don't get it, you don't get it. I can't remember exactly how I put it in there. But that's one thing that I think I mentioned earlier, I was like, what's funny here is that in a lot of situations, I feel like my camera's. I feel like a lot of guys are both right sometimes, and I'm noticing that looking at all this stuff, kind of zooming out a little bit. Sometimes, obviously, we have the characteristics that are added on to the artwork, and even that article in itself is supposed to encompass the whole artwork of putting the whole thing together. Not necessarily that it's good or well constructed or well written. It's just, putting shit together, almost not really mocking scholarship or that thing or anything, but it's like it's not supposed to really be very good. It's just a way to talk about how this might mean this stuff, and there's this qualities to it, and at the end, it's like if you don't understand just the whole, like artistic side of this whole thing, then that's hey, Chase is here. What's up? All right, so let's see what else is going on in the.
Hello.
Yo, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. You hear me okay?
Yeah, for sure. Tiger Shark will probably be here in a little bit, and Gnostic will jump on sometime. We're gonna look at some of the videos with Seaman and his critiques. I'm gonna say he makes some interesting videos. It reminds me of the ones I used to make, kind of, sort of PowerPoint style, But I like how he does the the arrows and drawing on the. Drawing on the like it's almost like he's doing football plays. He's the quarterback's gonna go over here. This guy's gonna move over here. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
just the artwork style to it. Now I do think sometimes we don't know, not the I think sometimes the best way to do YouTube is to just kind of be like that, do that kind of content, because my channel grew so fast when I was doing kind of the hit pieces and the really smart ass material and all that stuff. And it grew and it worked really good. People like to see that. They want to see the things, Let's see what we got in the comments. I'm writing a new book called Mark 1451 through 52. Everyone is wrong. Amon is less wrong than everyone else, but still wrong. Well, I'm not going to say. I like that it became such a thing in the Gnostic world, the Mark 1451 or whatever, or the Babylonian world, or the Greek mythology fan club, or whatever this is called. And yeah, I had some interesting ideas to make a modern day rendition of that. But Chase, nice hair, bro.
Oh, thank you.
The truth is,
it got real hot, man. It'll grow back pretty quick, but I just got to a point where I just looked in the mirror and I literally hand cut it like this, and then just like trim my sides. So it's a lot cooler. But dude, I do miss it. My girlfriend does miss the long hair a little bit, but
I was gonna say, how hot has it been down there?
Florida? I mean, I can't even tell. I mean, it's always like
it's just hot as hell.
Yeah, it feels like it's very damp. So when it's just that heavy air hits you, it'll zap it, man. It's like, man, it's just nap time at 2:00 or But yeah, it's hard to tell, man, just because I guess because of the humidity and stuff. So
what do you have? You got a new tattoo?
I have a couple tattoos, yeah. What? Oh yeah, because I trim. Yeah, so
did you get a new one?
I have this is Eleutheria, so that's Goddess of Liberty, and this is Exifos Muses, so that's sword of the muse, or to carve poetry from suffering or whatever else. So it's kind of it's who I am, where I need to go, kind of deal. When you get knocked down, and got knocked down quite a lot in the last month. I'll probably figure out a way to convey all the adventures I've been on. But yeah, man, I just kind of got into a mode where I had to buckle down and move forward, like towards not knowing what the outcome's going to be, but move forward towards the things that I want to move forward towards. And so kind of just got in that war mode. Probably why I trim my hair and everything too.
Yeah. Well, you told me a little bit, obviously. And yeah, stressful shit, man. It's like the freaking worst. I try to avoid that as much as I can. Obviously, you know, we just had a baby, so.
Oh, dude. I mean, hey, man, I have nothing to complain about. I mean, having another little human pop out has got to be like the best and wildest thing at the same time. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
it's
it's
cool, man.
probably amazing, but then it's also, I don't know. I can't imagine. You probably could tell me, but you know, it's also like there's another living me over there. Like, what could
Yeah.
happen? Like, what are they doing? What's that cough? What's going on? Hey, you know, and like it's just nonstop like that. I imagine.
Hey, Tiger, did I send you the link? I emailed it to you, I believe, unless I didn't hit send.
But the good thing about the tattoos is they're totally for me. So like my hair's thick, so my hair grows out, they're gone. If that makes any sense. So it's one of those. They look kind of fierce if I have my head shaved because it looks, you know, it's like, oh my god, there's a tattoo across here. But it's only when my hair cuts a certain way, and otherwise.
I grow
So
mine
it's kind
out
of fun.
usually a lot, and it gets pretty long. And then if it gets too hot, you know, I'll cut it down, just like I did with this. You know, I was just like, I can't take it, yo. It gets hot out here in Texas.
Oh yeah, yeah. You guys got that dry hot that I don't know. I feel like you just walk in the wrong direction and you can die pretty easily when it's super desert dry hot.
Marcel, did you post this? Brothel boys for life.
No. Where?
I have clues on the man, the myth, the mystery of the dude, Seaman.
No, that's Lord Cameron. It says Lord Cameron.
Spurted squirt. Let the flesh fight muse play. Tiger Shark. We should be seeing him soon, yo. I see there's a lot of stuff going on YouTube right now. It seems like
I mean, Babylon's streaming right
Olympics,
now.
yeah.
Kind of upset I'm missing it.
Have you been keeping up with it?
Oh yeah, man, I love watching Lady Babylon, man.
All right, fill me in. What is there any new shit? All I've heard about it, all I saw was that Seaman did a video addressed to Gnostic and Myth Vision.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh shit. Oh
yeah,
man.
I enjoyed Seaman's interview a lot, or I'm sorry, his like video a lot, because he really focused on the argument and the dynamic that I think caught a lot of our attention at the beginning, but it definitely caught mine, which was what is this whole pattern evoking, right? And if it's so wrong, like to get lost on like different details, like how old the person was, and then to be like, well, see, the age of the person, like two people disagreeing about the age of the person, well, that, so therefore it's all junk. And like his whole argument just stayed hardcore on the, hey, these are the patterns of a mystery cult initiation, right? Here they are in other versions. Here are how these plot points work in every other story,
Email Tyler
especially written in ancient Greek, and especially since the
Gnostic
people
shit.
that wrote the New Testament were trained in Homeric Greek and all that stuff. So these patterns are evoking this same exact thing. So there can be arguments about the semantics or the age, and that. But that was always my thing when I first heard all of this stuff, where it's like I don't really care how old the person was. The plot points of this story don't seem to be, I guess, just some kind of like people just hanging out, having a good time, and being real friendly, especially when they match up against all the mystery cults that have the same exact kind of formulas in them. So that's just kind of.
I agree with what you just said, but this is the thing. Amon Hillman, his whole entire worldview, his whole entire like theory depends on this child being prepubescent.
Oh, no.
It's dependent on this. So he has this peer-reviewed book that he got when Ruck got him included into some project. He got an opportunity of a lifetime to be a part of this medical classical text, and it was peer-reviewed. It's still peer-reviewed. It's still out there. And he totally like fumbled the ball with this thing. I'm addressing it in the video that I'm working on, where he makes this claim that there's this Yos rite where prepubescent children are used in the ritual where their drugs are extracted from their jizz. Then he lists a bunch of sources in the footnotes when you trace them down, they're just there's nothing. Not a single primary source anywhere. I wanted this to be true. I wanted Amen to be right.
Yeah,
it's just not true.
I'm
not Christian. I'm not defending Christianity.
Right.
And then when it comes to Mark 14, this has happened all the time where people go, yeah, I don't really care about how old the child was. But it's like, that's the thing. Amen cares. That's why he wants to use the whole diminutive argument of the neoniskos, because on paper it sounds good. Oh, neos with a diminutive iskos makes it little man, so child. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. What you just said logically makes sense. Is there a single primary source that we can find that says a neoniskos is under, I don't know, 12 or pre-puberty? The answer is 0. And actually, when I talked to you, Witch Doctor, the last time, we went through a couple, I think like 4 or 5 primary sources where it's specifically listed as either between 20 and 30, in some cases 15 to 30. You and I both agreed that a neoniskos can be all the way back to probably 15 at the youngest side, but it's up to 30 on the oldest side. It's like, I think of my own life, and from 15 to 30, I'm 35 now. 15 to 30, I was kind of the same dude. I was like, I was kind of, when I was 15, I was acting like a 25-year-old. When I was 30, I was acting like a 25-year-old. And we use the term kid. These kids are crazy. You can I call 25-year-olds kids all the time. It's kind of like that, it seems like. So like it's true that the word is not set to a specific time, or like the sources vary. How you use the term can vary. But we take all the evidence, and all I'm trying to say here is this is all I'm trying to say. I'm not even making my own theories on this. I'm just going, when we look at all the primary sources, which I brought a whole bunch of them, we look at all the primary sources, it always, 100% of the time, is at least after puberty. 15. Yes. If you want to go with 15, cool. But it's always, I've never seen one single primary source, and I've looked through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of primary sources that use this word. Never is it ever used for a child built before puberty. This messes up the whole Yost right in Mark 14. It makes it just some random kid. Yeah.
Okay. So I think I understand what you're saying. So would you agree that there seems to be likely something with the Abrahamic faiths that revolve around a lot of drug rituals, just like a lot of the other cults and stuff like that? But your disagreement would be that this specific rite that Aman is describing, you haven't found evidence that it involved a young boy, and that's just the position. Everything else is kind of opening the door, and it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with Aman on a lot of stuff he talks about. In fact, you talk about Mitch Doctor. You talk about the quest for the burning purple. I actually brought some stuff that you might be interested, because I do think that I do think there's a lot of weird cultural and ritual tendencies to include the color purple as far as Bacchic rituals go. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to do with the snail. It could be a purple flower, but for some reason, and that's a royal purple color. Yeah. So I'm not surprised. Hesychius, in Hesychius's lexicon, he's constantly throwing out Bacchic shouts, yay, yo, ya, you. And then you'll see right next to it also purple or violet. It'll say Bacchic chant or cry or exclamation of joy. And then the second definition, the purple violet. It's like, wait a minute, that's interesting. So there's something going on with the color purple being ritual and royalty and aristocracy. There's something going on with that. I'm fine with that. And then as far as drugs go, especially in Abrahamic religion, the Greeks, we know that's the thing. Kukion, Soma, Haoma, the Mede and the Nordic religion. All these are drugs. There's drugs everywhere in cultic religion, and everyone tries to exclude Abrahamic religions from this. No. We know that they use cannabis in the temple. The priests use cannabis, and I actually have a source that I can show you where the Yahweh temple in Egypt, the Elephantine Yahweh temple in Egypt, was drinking a sacred beverage that's called yasna, and that's a Persian word that's used for haoma, which is a psychedelic. Mm-hmm. So the priests were drinking yasna, right?
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
In the Yahweh's temple. So I've never denied this.
Right.
Oh, the Astrians.
What are your thoughts on the like the meaning, I guess, and use of the Christos word and like its connection to etymology, and like it would make sense. Like, so even if we did, even if it's just like, hey, they weren't using, maybe I don't see the evidence that it was a young man, but there was something happening, and the Christine one who Christ and Alexander the False Prophet. It's like there's all these connections here, and I think that that's the main thing that some of us kind of get frustrated by, where it's like I want to have the like exploration of the details, but sometimes we're exploring those details, and it's like people are coming along for the ride to be like, well, see, that blanket was actually blue, you called it green, so therefore your whole theory of these people doing drugs and doing all this stuff is just totally wrong, and let's go back to the fairy tale that it was just a bunch of people hanging out and being nice to each other, and that's where the religion kind of comes from. If that makes does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I don't have any problem with people, and this is what scholars do. They're putting forth their theories about what things mean. All I care about is, are you drawing it from primary sources, or are you just making this up? That's it. And like, as far as you mentioned, the word Christ, does the word Christ ever have to do with drugs? Yes. Actually, I could pull one up right now.
I think that's an epic thing to learn in our lifetimes, even though it probably has come up in different eras that we're not aware of. I mean, this is, I mean, since I've watched you guys, when I stumbled upon you guys doing construction work, and but like when I think about how much the flood of new cognitive reframing, everything that's been happening, I mean, that alone is, I think, epic, you know. And I'm very fascinated and like inspired by it, but it also sucks that everybody gets at each other's necks over nuance when there's like clearly another movement coming, which is coming to shut all this shit down and reinsert the fairy tale, you know.
I mean, I got totally shut out of the movement of the circle of Ammonites for just simply saying, I don't think you're right about the Septuagint being the original. I have held in that position since day one.
Same.
Apparently that was enough to not be my friend anymore. And then I've always held the position that Christ, the word Christ is a verb. It means to anoint. You can anoint people with drugs. You can anoint people with just regular oil. It's really that simple. So yes, when you're saying Christos, can it be a drug? Absolutely. I would love to show you guys some pretty fascinating sources if you want to see them real quick.
Sure.
Absolutely.
So, okay, first one I'll do is Plutarch. And this is just like, let me see. Kufi, it's called Kaifi. This drug's called Kufi or something. And let me just share my screen if I can. And this is like, I just want to show you guys, like, I'm not denying that Christ can be used. Like, this is what I seems to happen. I think Amon Hillman will say something like, Christ is it means drugs, and someone will say, no, it doesn't. It means to anoint. And then someone will come along and find a source where it's like, Danny Jones did this with brilliantly did this in front of Bart Ehrman, because I think Bart Ehrman's a bad scholar. I agree with that.
That was wild, by the way. I feel like if this was any other time and like, I don't know, everyone had a collective, I guess, like what used to be a mainstream narrative in the 90s and early 2000s, that would have been an incredible TV moment of watching. Yeah, I was just like, oh, what just happened? I didn't even know what was going on.
I agree 100% that Bart Ehrman was out of his element. He had no idea what was going on. And so and he deserves it. If you don't know your shit, you don't deserve that. Hey, please take that part out. It makes me look bad. No, people should know that you didn't know this. They should know
to be wrong too, man.
It's okay to be wrong. Exactly. And that would be the honorable thing to do. Wow, I didn't know that. You just changed my mind. I do it all the time. Here, so this drug called Kaifi, or Kufi in Greek, this is Plutarch writing this, and this is on Isis and Osiris. I just want to make this abundantly clear for people watching this. This is a religious text. This is a purely religious, ritualistic. There's nothing mundane about this. It's just ritual and religious, purely. And he says, he talks about these Pythagoreans and all this stuff. The Egyptians, they call myrrh ball being interpreted as the dissipation. He's talking about some drug shit right here. You know, he's talking about cypress, juniper, right? And then he goes, this is where you're gonna love this. He goes, Kufi is a compounded 16 ingredients: honey, wine, raisins, cyperus, resin, myrrh, ashpalt, cecilus, mastic, bitumen, rush, sorrel, Like, what the hell is going on with this? And then he said, and in addition to both these junipers, which they call one larger and the one smaller, cardamom and calamus. And I actually looked at some of these Greek words that they use for some of this stuff, and it's pretty interesting. Anyways, so it's a compound drug, and this is what he says: it's not at random while being these are compounded not at random, but while the sacred writings are being read. So it's like they're doing Orphic hymns and they're making drugs, dude. This is right up all y'all alley. So they're doing Orphic hymns to Isis and Osiris while making the drug. And this is what he says: the perfumers, as they mix the ingredients, as this number appears quite clear, that is the square of a square, 16, and is the only one of the numbers, talk about the number 16, forming a square that is the perimeter equal. So this is some Pythagorean rituals going on, Orphic shit going on. And I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit because he does this is interesting. People can pause the screen and read the whole thing. I'm telling you, it's worth reading, because he says, like right here, it makes it clear, no less effective, that the notes of the lyre, what the Pythagoreans used to employ before sleeping as a charm and a cure for the emotional and irrational of the soul. So there's music involved. They're playing the lyre. They're taking drugs. Wow. They're playing a guitar, basically. They're playing music. And then he says, they use kaifi as a potion and a salve. Guess what this word is in Greek? Krima.
Christos. Or krima. Yeah.
That is a form, and it's a form that's in the not accusative. Yeah, accusative. In the accusative form. Taken internally, it seems to cleanse properly the internal organs, since it's an emollient. Apart from this, the resin and the myrrh result from the action of the sun when the trees exude them in response to the heat of the ingredients which they compose the kaifi. So there's they're being cleansed. It's like a ritual cleansing. Now, I don't know. He doesn't really say what the effects are really, but I'm sure there's some effects. I'm sure it's not like nothing. I mean, there's 16 freaking drugs involved. And then it says right here, very appropriately, therefore, they burn resin and myrrh in the daytime. So there is an aspect of burning going on. And again, it does remind me of Dioscorides in a way. It's not burning in the active sense, but it's been burnt.
Yeah.
So there's something, I think there's something to be said there. This is another one that I want to read to you real quick, and then I will get your thoughts on this. I just flip right to it. Oh no. Yeah, so this is from the Life of Apollonius of Tyana. And I don't have this. I can't share my screen. I'm just going to read it from anyone can go and check this out. Actually, let me see if I can find it in Loeb. Let me see if I can do Apollonius. Whoops.
Why can't I see the chat? Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go. Apollonius Philostratus left. I do have it here. Okay. So let me see if I can do a word search for anointed.
Yeah.
Here it is. Okay. That was pretty easy to find. So this is Apollonius of Tyana. It's written by Flavius Philostratus in the Severan period. So like right around 200 AD this is written. But it's talking about a first century story. Apollonius lived in the first century. He says, let me just go up a little bit. I would certainly be wronging the Caucasus and the Indus, which I crossed to you if I did not absorb your rights. Absorb them, said Icarus, and let us go. So they went to a spring of water, and Damis, after seeing it later, compares to Dirce in Boeotia. After disrobing, after getting naked, they Christ their heads. Where's the word right here? Ekristanto. There it is. So it's in the active. It's in the active case. They Christed their heads with an ointment. So it says, where does it say? They Ekrisanto tas kafalas. You know what I mean? And pharmakoi with the dative case. See that aorta subscript? That's how you know it's the dative case. So it says they anointed their heads. It actually should say with a drug. This is a bad translation. The pharmakoi is right there. So this is why I wanted to bring this point up, because this is a case where you do have Christ, and the word drug is there. That's very important. So in this case, they are Christing with a pharmacon. So he says they Christed their heads with a drug like amber. Now amber, that's like a reddish orange color, maybe not purple, but like, all right, we're on the spectrum here, which had such a warming effect that the Indians that their bodies steamed. I know the burning purple people are going to love this one. And their sweat ran in streams as when people used the hot bath. Then after they baptized, after baptizing into the water, after dipping into the water, baptizo, and washing in this state, they proceeded to the temple, garlanded. That's interesting. That's a very ritualistic temple. They go to the temple, garlanded and full of song. There's the music again. You see all the elements are there. You got the drug, you got the music, you got the temple, you got the Christ thing. So this is what I mean by saying I'm not here biasly trying to prevent people from posing this stuff. I'm trying to be scientific as possible. That's kind of my thing. And not everyone's going to act like this. I know not everyone wants to be like this. I do. That's just my thing.
Well, I think it's I don't know about, how you guys feel. So I'm 41. I don't always look my age, but you're 35. You're around the same age as me. He's a doctor. You're around 37, somewhere. Marcel, you're somewhere around there.
Yeah, we're all
yeah.
This is a lot. Yeah. This is a lot for like the whole culture to take in this whole thing, So I think it is good
because we demonize drugs today.
Yes.
But when you think of the ancient world, that they're doing this stuff ritually, you're kind of going, "What? That's weird."
Right. Yeah. So I think it is really good that every now and then we have people that want to pull the brakes and be like, whoa, hold on. Let's dig into this and make sure and stuff like that. I think just like, I guess figuring out how everybody like, what are the, I don't want to call it teams, but like, what things are we unified under? Like, so Witch Doctor and I could totally disagree on something, right? But we're not going to totally want to destroy each other and tear each other down because, I don't know, we disagreed on one detail of a passage. We still are interested in finding the truth of like the larger picture, because this larger picture is really new, and it's new for what's even I think freakier for me anyway personally is watching all of these scholars fumble. Is like, oh shit, right? Because it's just like, this was your whole life's work, guys. What were we doing here? And not that I'm maybe in some wings that was malicious, like that was like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing, I'm just not understanding this on purpose, muhahaha. And in other circumstances it might just be you don't know what you don't know, and then you're caught in this academic system that kind of perpetuates that. Or like when I was in academia for a short time, you see a lot of commentary on commentary. So people writing research papers, say on films or something, but when they go to cite their sources for their argument, they've cited a source that's a commentary, that cited a source that's a commentary, that cited and you keep falling all the way back.
And it's just third hand. Yeah, I agree.
Starts to kind of like, people like, oh, now I know I'm on the edge of what I know, what I'm talking about. But when the reality is, I think that everyone like should just learn how to read ancient Greek, or at least if I had more time, I'd 100% be doing it all the time. But
what you just said is so spot on, because a lot of these scholars, they go and they get their PhD from divinity schools or masters from divinity schools. They go on to write their dissertation, do a PhD, and they are getting kind of spoon fed very much like a certain way of looking at it. They're getting like they're being told like mythicism bad. They're getting told like comparative mythology bad, Fraser bad.
They like regurgitate what they're taught instead of trying to put progress into what they're taught, right? Yeah,
and they're getting it's like what you can see. A lot of these scholars, they don't actually know the primary sources. They know what to say about the primary sources.
Correct.
Like they have the correct answer, but they don't. A lot of them you can tell don't know why that's the answer.
Yes.
And I've experienced this where a lot of these scholars, like prime example is Barnhammer and Dan McClellan. When you present them with primary sources that refute kind of like what they're pushing out there, they can't handle it. They'll block you. They'll say they'll special plead. They'll post hoc rationalize why it's wrong. I'm thinking of the instance where I showed Dan McClellan, where he said there's no gods ever born at December 25th, and I showed him a primary source where Harpocrates.
I remember that. You wrecked him, man. I mean,
yeah,
no
I go,
offense.
dude.
I don't know you, Dan, but you got wrecked, buddy.
Yeah, I go. It says he's born around this winter solstice right here. I go when this was written by Plutarch, the winter solstice was fixed on December 25th. And he just goes, well, it doesn't say on December 25th, so we can't really know if he really meant that. What the fuck? And then he still to this day, you can still hear him saying, there are no sources that say this. He just ignores it. He doesn't care because I'm nothing to him. I don't have a PhD, and I'm not publishing peer review and SBL stuff. So it doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. He's right no matter what. And that's his mentality.
Appeal to authority kind of deal.
Yeah, appeal to myself.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's kind of sad because the reason why they have the whole point of going to school, going to get a degree, getting a PA, getting a doctorate is because you have learned the material and now you have authority to speak on this material. Like you learn the languages, you learn the primary sources, you learn the secondary sources, you know this stuff. And it's like, it seems like this is backwards now. Now it's people who know the material. So what? Do you have a PhD next to your name? Notice how it's like backwards now. The PhD matters more than the knowledge. When it used to be the PhD represented the knowledge, but now it's just like it's a license now. It's a license to just be an authority and just kind of push your own shit out there. And it's like, I'm a PhD, so you better. I'm right, and I have all these sources to back me up, even though I never read them.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. They just regurgitate, right? They're not really. It's like being a sheep. You're just regurgitating what you were spoon-fed instead of actually really learning anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah. I'm really interested in like the implication of like a system, an output of a system. That's kind of been a big thing. I've been trying to in other areas of my life that I've had to kind of learn this because it was a little bit more effective. But instead of I don't know, arguing over, like you were talking about how this is what this is and this is how this is and this is what this is, and then people can come up with opposing views, and even if it becomes appeal to authority or it becomes by force or whatever else. But the reality of the truth seems to be what is the predictive nature of the system? And so when we look at our culture today and kind of how humans are, as we're seeing this onslaught of everyone with cameras and stuff like that, and weird power structures and conspiracy theories and all this other stuff. I don't know about you guys, but for me, when I start to see this world of antiquity and how it functioned with possibly the trade of people, with drugs, how tyranny works and stuff, it starts to now I don't think we're ever going to know exactly what was happening. It seems like there was a lot of efforts to kind of obfuscate some of that, and libraries burnt down and stuff like that. It does seem to be that this new world that's kind of opening up makes this world look very familiar. It makes me go, oh, that's kind of why our civilization kind of feels like that. Whereas before, when it was back in the day, Christianity was at the heart of everything, or whatever else. It was the oldest religion. It had all the morals. It was people hanging out, being real nice to each other. And then, I don't know, really greedy, fucked up people got real mad and they killed the really nice people. But now we're on top of everything. And then we gave birth to enlightenment. And it's there's this whole fake, it feels like a fake linear narrative that doesn't make sense or line up to everything we're seeing now. And in most Abrahamic faiths, you see a lot of child abuse. You see a lot of just no offense to anybody in them. I used to, it's I'm not saying you're particularly a bad person for this, but we have to about face and look at why is this so prevalent in every single one of the Abrahamic faiths? There seems to be something to do with child abuse. There's some unchecked power that kind of rises, and all this other stuff. So
see it in Islam, Christianity, and Judaism.
Yeah.
Why?
So it's a big thing that I still haven't figured out how to word it correctly. But when you see all the pieces getting put together, where it was like, how are we like this back then, and now we're like this now? This doesn't make any sense. Now it's starting to make sense.
I have a simple hypothesis for why this seems to be, and obviously I don't know how to test this, but in the ancient world they had outlets for those things. The Temple of Aphrodite,
right?
You had the Dionysian Bacchanalias. People had outlets to go and get a release. That's why Dionysus is called Lucios, the Dionysus, the releaser. That was his epithet, right? Yeah, Dionysus the Lucios, the releaser. We need that release. It's so important. This is what Nietzsche writes about, where he talks about we've lost the Dionysian aspect of life. We're so Apollonian now. Everything's all about like truth and objectivity and rationalism, and like Jesus had to live and he had to die for 3 days and he had to resurrect. It's like there's really it's all just like based on things that we like, whatever. But
you have to agree so much so fast.
Yeah, and so what I'm noticing is priests, Muslim, what are they called? The teachers, whatever they are, and rabbis, they're so pent up with this energy that they can't release because it's against their dogma to do it, that they end up going into really dark areas really fast. That's what I think. That's why I think those gods were so vital to society, that releasing. Without it, you get the Catholic Church. Look at the Catholic Church for the last 2,000 years. Look how much corruption is going on. Like, well, you know what? You just got caught doing a PDF thing. We're just going to move you to another city and make sure hopefully no one finds out about it. That's how they deal with it. So it's like, that's what I think.
Bro,
there's a documentary about that called like about this priest, Father Maskell. I forget what it's called now, but it gets pretty dark.
Have y'all seen the statue?
It talks all about that.
There's a statue at a Catholic school in Australia that I swear I could pull it up, but it's really not worth it. Apparently the clergy figure in the statue was holding bread down here, and
really,
it looked really unusual, and
like it was like a hot dog shape or something like that.
Yeah, and then there was a altar boy.
Damn.
And it was I looked to see if it was like a gag article, and it wasn't.
Oh yeah,
really.
And
very suggestive.
There, the father, the priest, whatever. He was just like, y'all are taking this way out of hand. This has nothing to do with that. This is just symbolic artwork. It's just,
damn.
It was like the most crude looking.
Some of those churches were built with like secret like images in the corners that no one can see, where there's like a dude showing his thing. You've seen those images, right? They're all over the internet.
I had it on a couple of episodes where the saint is he's full spready.
I haven't seen any of that. That sounds neat.
Yeah, I've shown it on the show. Oh gosh, what's it called? All Saints Cathedral, Hereford, England. Here we go. This is the one thing I can bring to the conversation sometimes is a little bit of the artwork, and this is, I guess, considered artwork.
You guys have seen the South Park episode where Cartman becomes a Christian pop star, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So and you're like, when I watched that when it first came out, I'm like, gosh, this is so comedically brilliant. Look at this thing they tied together. And now I'm kind of looking at it. I'm like, holy shit, is that the echoed pattern of the like medieval Puritan version when they took the drugs out? And if you follow these kind of patterns, it's naturally going to echo out in some other kind of way. Because I remember being in tongues where they're like speaking speaking in tongues with music playing, and like it's a bunch of teenagers in a youth group, and they're making all the noises. And I'm like, and now in hindsight, I'm like, it's like, oh, where the Spirit of God's coming on us. And in hindsight, I'm like, oh, this might have been some kind of weird like echo of an old ritual that's somehow found its way back, except there's no drugs and no sex during it. But they don't know that. They're calling it the ecstatic.
I've had a weird experience with that, like with the slaying in the spirit thing. I was at a Pentecostal event, and that was happening, and I was like, man, this isn't going to work on me. And then all of a sudden, I was just dropped to the floor. It was insane. I was like,
there's a psychological reason for that. Like, there's some Young writes about it. Carl Jung wrote about it a lot too. I think Freud did too. but there's something
totally,
behind it.
It's totally like a mob
Group thing.
mentality kind of thing that gets in you.
Yeah.
Yo,
That
if I was
is
if I was in
amazing.
charge of this
That's
church,
good.
I would.
What the fuck is
If I was if I was in charge of decorating the church, getting the wooden columns put in, and I hire my friend Chase, and he shows up, and he carves this fucking spread eagle.
Is that carved in the wood or is that metal?
Yeah, no, that's carved. That's carved in there. You can see the chisel marks there.
Yeah,
that's chiseled right in there.
I don't understand I want to know what their symbolic reference for this is. When the
it might have been just an ancient troll or a medieval troll that thought this will be funny, and then no one will know, and one day they'll find it.
Was there something? It could be. Yeah. Was there something to do with the Crusaders and the purple cross and the underwear or something? Do I remember that incorrectly or correctly?
Yes. Okay.
What do you got?
The theory is that during the Crusades, this is not my theory, but during the Crusades, the knights were doing these purple anal Christings, and that their ass stains in their undergarments looked like purple crosses, and as far as the eye could see, the laundry was drying, and you would see purple crosses as far, like everywhere, and that's supposedly how the purple cross became the symbol for Christianity. Never mind the crucifix or anything like that. And I know that there's arguments about
where did that idea come from? Is it like
Lady Babylon?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. It was one of those things where I was like, I looked into it,
and there's nothing.
Find anything on
it? It's always made up. It's always just made up. Like he used to tell me this. When I first had him on my channel, he told me that there was a source of Saint. I think he said Saint Cyprian.
Yeah, Saint Cyprian. Yeah,
Saint Cyprian. Yeah. Yeah, he said that there's a primary source where Saint Cyprian got caught with purple anus after a long night of being out with prostitutes and doing pederasty. And I was like, huh? Asked him for the primary source.
It's from the Satyricon, but the purple anus in it
is not in the Satyricon. That source from
okay,
yeah. The Saint Cyprian source. I've never seen it. I'm open. Someone can see it. Years went by, and I just gave up. I kept asking, "Do you have that Saint? I want to make a video about it right fucking now, dude." Like the idea that like Seamen saying they just can't handle this. The idea that if that's the case, like he called me Christian brained or something. The idea that I'm a Christian that's trying to prevent these ideas from getting out there. Look at my channel. My whole channel. If you had a primary source that said Saint Cyprian got caught with a purple anus up all night at 4 a.m. with prostitutes and pederasty, if you had a primary source that said that, there would be a whole documentary on my channel showing that. No. I would be the first person to promote it. In fact, I'm the first person who did a whole documentary on the questions of Mary, of Jesus being up on a mountain and telling Mary to drink his cum. I've showed that on my channel before anyone did. Yeah. So I don't want to hear it that I can't. Neil can't handle it. No, you just can't handle that I was right, and now you're totally sidestepping and moving the goalposts, and now it's 15-30. And you're okay with that? Okay, all right.
Well, no, I that's what I was talking about with like it's kind of fun and provocative to mudsling, but I feel like everybody's much more aligned than they might think they are, especially when the real like adversity to all of this is basically telling you Santa Claus is real, and that's Santa Claus is coming to town, and that's the real story, and that's the only story about Santa Claus. And the rest of us are kind of like, I think we found some other stuff,
I agree with that.
Yeah. I got a question about so using people as drugs is like a weird concept, and it's like it's a lot to wrap my head around, and I wish I had more time to actually just I really would. I mean, if I could just go read Galen and all these other people, I would be in heaven right now. But I mean, it's just the stage of life that I'm at. But there are tribes and like other examples where the body does filter out stuff and people figured it out. Like one of the ways is like when people eat a ton of mushrooms, shamans knew that they could then pee out a really pure form of the psilocybin, and then initiates / whatever
I heard about this.
ritual could drink it, and it would be like, wow, it'd be way more than
it's common with Amanita. Amanita gets more potent through urine.
Yeah,
I've
so it makes
heard this.
sense that there would be like thousands of years or whatever else, but especially if they're keeping libraries and stuff, that there would be other versions of this, of people like experimenting in strange ways with the organs or with whatever else. And like, you know, I know it's really hard to nail down exactly what something was, but it kind of does make sense if that was related to the theriac, because I know they did find different residues in that one, I think, cup, one of those goblets in a museum, I think.
Oh, the cup of Bess, is that what you
I don't remember the name. It was the guy in Jones who did the book and documentary. I think he did documentary on the Nazis, though, when he had dug real deep on all their experimentation. And the next thing that he was talking about, he's working on, they had found this goblet that had not been cleaned a certain way, and they found remnants of like breast milk and a whole bunch of other things in there, and it was like a very important like ritualistic cup. So it kind of
makes the cup of Bess, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like it's like it's not just one thing, you know, like, and I think that's also the thing we're coming out of the dark about, that it was just this one religion that had all these ideas and all this other stuff. It's all over, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
there's a yogic tradition too about urine. Yoga.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the Evenki tribe, Siberian, like China, Mongolia area. That's at least one of the practices that they had. This is a representation of the sort of house that they would have. And I try to describe that it looks like a teepee, but then people think I'm crazy because they think that only Native Americans slept in houses like
the
that.
Scythians did, and the Yamnayans did too.
And so, you know, the shaman,
it's the oldest, it might be the oldest, like, simple way to build a house. And that'll explain why you can find Yamnaya and Native Americans both doing the same, because they're both probably going back to a very ancient way of building houses.
It probably works.
I mean, it's like beavers building the same dam. It's like the simplest way to put up a structure. Very simple way to do it.
Yeah, so the shaman would have to either come in through a side window or come in through the top, because the snow during the solstice would be so high. And then, you know, come down at it seems like the theory was, or at least the folklore behind all this was, that the shaman would piss in a cup and everybody would drink it because it would filter out, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a while since I've even talked about it, the ibotenic acid. But, you know, if you eat the amanita, it can cause this sort of foamy lockjaw feeling, you know, the more you take. Or it can make your stomach really turn a little bit harder than like psilocybin mushrooms. So
you get stuck in loops too. You repeat the same action like 50 times in a row.
Right. Really? And so I'm curious what something like, you know, blood having been filtered through the liver, once things go to the liver, they convert, you know. And so I'm curious what sort of experiments that might have happened, considering that using biologics for, you know, for like using the human body as a pharmacy. I know it sounds really kind of nutty at first, but
it checks out.
There's a source in the Ayurveda tradition of drinking your own urine. It says right here, your own urine. It says, for example, some describe Amorali as a disciplined ritual in which one ingests own's urine, usually first thing in the morning. And that's citing the Ayurveda, a yogic tradition of Hinduism. I see two more too. One of them is from Islam, medicinal ritual urine as consumption, and then Zoroastrian, it's consecrating bull urine called gomez into a sacred liquid called nirang. However, the sources I reviewed describe tasting and ritual tasting of substances in these rites. But that's a ritual. That's a religious ritual right there.
Yeah. Do you think?
And then it mentions the Siberian one too.
Do you think that's what P. Diddy was doing?
Probably.
Right?
I think when you're that high up,
there might be some ritual. He was trying to find the way, guys. He's a good guy.
He was Christing for sure. There's a lot of Christing going on there. A lot of oil.
Yeah. Another, like, so, you know, when I look at dynamics like that, with like echoed patterns, do you think the story of Jesus with like his disciples does kind of sound like younger people though, when they're like scared on the boat and then they're like, oh, hey, master, sit by me, sit by me. Like, if I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but like, if it was like 30-year-old dudes, like all those like dynamics of those plot points, they feel like it feels like he's with kids. I might like, or younger people. I don't know if that makes sense or if
Yeah,
there's
like
other.
impressionable. It sounds like an impressionable age.
Yeah, well, it's like, why are they scared at a lightning storm? I don't know. I mean,
Well, didn't
maybe
the
I'm
Jewish
totally wrong.
tradition, weren't they, you know, high school age anyway? Like if you were a man, you weren't, you know,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
you were, starting to do your thing, I guess.
Yeah, you get your bar mitzvah at age 12. That's usually when you're considered to be a man, and that's in that tradition. And it does coincide with the average person's puberty.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Right, true. There's the catacombs. I'm always looking at the artwork, and artists don't always do a very good job with with representing how old somebody is, whether it's making them look younger than they are or whether it's making them look older than they are. Like there's so many reliefs of Paul, with beard and old, looking 70 years old. You know what I mean? It's like that's just to make the designation that he's the oldest one of all of them.
yeah, because he's the father of our tradition, so he has to have that stern, stoic old man look.
Right.
You know,
It seems like the Paulism, the shorter hair, and because Jesus was drawn the first few hundred years of whatever we got left over. There's a lot of them with, of course, I do the whole magic wand bit on my show about what are they just simply alluding to, with all the different talk of the alabaster and stuff and symbolism of a guy just wiping oil and having a jar like that, but that being a magic wand or a witch's broom or a wizard staff in the artwork or the story, like Trident, Poseidon's trident being his penis. It's a way to make it not as, graphic, if you will. But the disciples or the apostles, some of them, they look very young, no beards, smaller features, more of that, that younger body structure and stuff. But once again, it's just art. It's artists. Sometimes artists do things that are extremely controversial. Like I talk about Michelangelo's stuff.
Is there an example like of what you're talking? Like I like what you're saying, but like I'm trying to picture like, is there another example where someone has taken like a very what would be considered, I guess, pure series of plot points and then elevated it specifically in the opposite direction? Like, is there an example of someone taking the story of Zeus and elevating it towards a like what they kind of did with the Christian myth, where they made it into kind of like this fairy tale?
Stoics.
Okay.
The Stoics.
Okay.
The Stoics were appalled. They agreed with Plato that the Homeric, Hesiodic version of events was like horrific in their opinion. They're like, Zeus cannot be, a rapist or any of this stuff. He has to be virtuous. The Stoics were obsessed with virtue. That was their only dogma. That was their only fixation, their only sort of axiom, if you will. It was virtue is the only thing that you need to aim for. So Stoics, when you start reading these Stoics, they portray Zeus as all good, all knowing, perfect. He's the logos. They call him the logos. So it is very just like Christianity. Yeah, he's the logos. Yeah. He's logic. He's perfect. He's reason. He's all that. So that's the Stoic Zeus. You get a different Zeus. He's totally rebuilt in that way.
Interesting. So that makes sense when there's like something that tries to like take over everything in some absolute way. That's when the rewriting can start happening.
Read the Gnostic literature. It's a different Jesus. It's a way more different Jesus. And then some would argue that was the oldest layer. Like we're seeing echoes of the older tradition, like maybe even at the same time as Mark, where you get like different portrayals of who Jesus was. Maybe he was a little bit more different. Maybe he was a little more apocalyptic. Maybe he was a little more Bacchic, whatever you want to say. But the point is, you can see over time, they start going, no, let's get rid of all those extra sources. Let's just keep these four.
Yeah.
So,
the fragments of napkins that they didn't like.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
And
that
John,
Marcion passage. Is that the right guy? The
Marcion,
other Mark passage, yeah. That was kind of interesting. You know, whenever something's discovered, like in the 19th or 20th or 21st century, I'm always like, you know.
Oh, you're talking about the secret mark? Yeah. There's some people
Yeah.
who think it's authentic though. So it's not like
that would be
not,
awesome.
There was a big debate about that. Is it authentic? Cool. Is it not? I think that might have been. But you guys know about this though. The disciple who Jesus loved. This is John. Not John the Baptist, but he's the youngest of all. The beloved? Yeah, he's the youngest of all of them. Now, John's gospel is very much on the Gnostic side, in my opinion.
Yes.
You're getting a more cultic, getting a more esoteric a version of the events. And then in this very gospel, sure enough, the disciple whom Jesus loved, it's ton alon mateten hon ephile, which means who he loved, right? Ephile ho Jesus. So the disciple whom Jesus loved, and it's the guy, supposedly it's the same guy who later writes Revelation, right, according to church tradition. So I'm not like, I don't care if you're mythicist, you can say I'm wrong. I don't care. I'm doing an internal critique. Right? Look at this shit right here. I'm doing an internal. Okay, there he is, laying on Jesus' chest, little boy, right? Yeah. Little young, probably like a probably 15-year-old, right? For a young kid. And the reason why you can conclude he was 15 at least is because if he is the same John that wrote Revelation, look, St. John at Patmos. That's Revelation. This is a painting of John before he writes Revelation. He's in Patmos. That's where Revelation's written. It's in Asia Minor. So think about this.
I've never even seen that.
If he's alive, if he's the disciple whom Jesus loved, and then he writes Revelation later, way later, in the 90s or something. That's what they say. That's what the church says. Let's say he wrote it in 70. How old does that make him be? Let's go with the most conservative we can get. He wrote it in 70 AD or 69 or something, right? That would mean if he was alive and Jesus was in the year 30, Jesus is born 4 BCE, 33 by 30 AD. So 30 AD, and he's still writing, he's still around in 69.
Right.
Then he had to have been in his teens.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he'd be like 70 years old.
Yeah. For sure.
Are we talking about a 70-year-old, 90-year-old man at that point? What are we doing here? So he's an extremely young kid. I'll use the term kid because it's very flexible. Extremely young kid that's laying on Jesus's lap during all these dinner parties.
Yeah. I like how you painted that, man. That was that's like one of those implications, the output of a system, kind of like trying to figure out what exactly is this like evoking or telling us. I do have a question, like not around like what came first, like the Septuagint in the Greek or the Hebrew, but and maybe I don't understand language that well, but when I think of, they say they have this ancient language and it goes back really far, and then it's like 8 to 10,000 words. Let's say be really generous and it's 12 to 15 or something, and then 70% of them are used only in this particular storybook. How do you speak with a language like that when the words can mean 10 different things? Like, so it would like exponentially become more complicated as I spoke if each arrangement would make the word mean something different. And is that how it works when they're translating ancient Hebrew, where it's like, well, this word actually means this, 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 and this, and then this, and then so mathematically, each time you put those combinations together, it's like, well, how in the hell did people even speak if each of if the word fern tree meant 10 different things when I said it? How would you know the context, and how would I communicate, and how would I story tell? That whole dynamic really bugs me.
It's
more
crazy
than oh, well, which is the oldest version we found?
I agree.
Carbon dating or something. You know what I mean?
There's a term. It's called hoplax legonema, and hoplax is a Greek word that means simple, straightforward, right? Or it can mean single form, hoplax. And then logonema is logos and onema, the word name. So it's like single word name. And what it means is, in Homer, for example, I don't know if you guys know this. Homer is the hardest book to translate or to study. And the reason why is so old because it's in the written form that we have it is 9th century BCE, but we know it's probably way older than that. Probably are parts of it that go back to the Bronze Age. Wow. The reason why we know that is because it has 1/3 of Homer. 1/3 of Homer. 33% of all of Homer is a Haplach Legonima, which means the words that are in Homer, the vocabulary in Homer, is only in Homer. You cannot compare. You cannot find it in the LSJ.
Wow.
You won't find it anywhere else. You won't find Herodotus using these words. One third.
Dude,
isn't that crazy?
Yes, nuts. So like, so if that's interesting. So people
and the Bible's like that too.
Right. That's what I was going to say. Did they take that idea because Homeric Greek was what they trained everybody to think and speak on? And it was like, this is the original story. This is what we use. This is how we educate people. And then they made their own Joseph Smith Golden Tablet version that's just...
The reason why it ends up that way, is because there's certain dialects. Like Attic can go back very far. And Attic Greek, and then Biblical Hebrew. Certain sections of the Bible, of the Old Testament, Biblical Hebrew, does suggest that it does have there's an older layer that goes back. Not the form that we have it in. The form that we have it in is probably 3rd century BC.
Yeah.
But with these Haplach Legonimas that we find in the Bible, suggests that there's some layer of the Bible that does go back farther. And the way that they can tell what the word means, it's hard, but you're looking at the sentence as a whole. It's not very often where you find a whole sentence full of just all Haplach Legonimas. If that ever happened, you're fucked. You're not going to know what it means.
Yeah, good luck.
But 99.9% of the time, you find a whole sentence where you know what the words mean. There's one Haplach Legonima. So then you look at the sentence and you go, and you sort of fill in the blank. And then you can also look at the etymology of the word. So if the word is like doorway, let's say you've never seen that word before. You go door and way. Well, we know what those words are, so we can put it together. Okay, even though this word never showed up, let's pretend the word doorway never showed up in your vocabulary. You've never heard that word before, but you see it, and it's in a sentence that says, "I walk through the doorway," and then you kind of just go, "Oh, well, it's doorway," and he's walking through it, so it's probably an entrance. So you translate it as entrance. That's what you do. But there are times, and there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of cases in Homer, for example, where these words you can see like scholarship going back thousands of years, all the way back to freaking the Byzantines, and even in like the Hellenistic period, the what do they call the scholars that they're called scholias, where there's scholias written on words in Homer and they don't know what it means. So it's like these are things that people wrestle. So there are examples of words that we just are like debating hotly. But I think today we mostly have it cracked, but it's still debated.
Is it true that, like, I mean, even though, like you said, the Hotbox Legoma or
Haplach Legonima.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up because I can't see it, but that the Greek language. Even though we have a minimal amount of it, but the way that it functions, it allows for like a better idea of figuring out what they were talking about, because it is able to coin words, it is able to make sense, it is able to build upon itself. And why it would be so like prevalent all throughout antiquity, because it expresses itself so well. It allows people to discover new ideas or put things together, whereas ancient Hebrew seems like the exact opposite. So it seems very strange they'd have such a epic Homeristic thing going on, except their language never actually created anything else like music or, I don't know, name all of the stuff that seems to go back from what the Enlightenment Enlightenment people were reading and stuff like that. Like once they got a hold of that stuff, all of a sudden Isaac Newton's making algebra from reading about Pythagoras and stuff like that. Whereas there's no example of that with the ancient Hebrew. And I do think it is interesting that they just have this book, and that's not to hate on them, but I'm just saying, like, it's weird that you say you constructed this whole thing isolated from everybody. Right. It kind of mimics the Homeric way.
Oh, yeah.
Some kind of epic thing, except the language itself does not function at all like ancient Greek. And that's why. Yeah.
It looks like
that's a big contention to me.
What it looks like there's going on, and this is how I would conclude because Bruce Loudon. I have his book here somewhere. Where did I put it? Bruce Loudon wrote this book. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. Greek myth in the Bible, dude. And he just kind of smashes. He just kind of demonstrates purely how much the Old Testament is borrowing from Greek mythology. Now, he's not saying they wrote it in Greek. He's not saying that, but he's saying like the way Virgil redoes Greek stuff. Virgil's not writing in Greek; he's writing in Latin.
Right.
Like Ovid does it too. Statius, Propertius. I can name all these Latin poets. They're not writing in Greek, but they're taking Greek and they're writing their own versions of these stories in Latin. The same thing is happening in the Hebrew Bible. They know about these Mediterranean myths. They know about Egyptian myths. They know about Babylonian and Syrian and Hittite myths. They're aware of the culture surrounding them. And you're going to see in the Old Testament, you're going to see their own versions in Hebrew of these stories. For example, Iphigenia, the sacrifice of Iphigenia right before the Trojan War. Agamemnon sacrifices his only daughter, Iphigenia. And then as he's about to kill her, he gets stopped at the last second by a messenger of Artemis, an angel of Artemis. Right. And then she gets her body gets transported, and in her replacement is a deer to sacrifice. Well, that's the Abraham story. Yeah. Abraham sacrificing his only son, and then a deer, and then instead of a deer, it's a ram caught in a thicket.
Right.
So we know that they're doing like their own mimesis of this stuff.
Yes, of course.
But it doesn't look like they're translating it. You can tell that they're doing it's their own version. You can tell when something's translated because it would just be literally the same story, first of all, and you'd have like sentence structure, you'd have all this lining up. It's not what you're seeing. You're seeing it's like they knew about the story and then they wrote their own version of it.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Plus, on top of all that, you do also have their own local traditions sort of interwoven inside of it. And so it's
stuff.
And so you have to sort of separate what is Israelite, what is Mediterranean, what is Egyptian, and you can people. This is what people have been trying to figure out forever. But I think there's a combination of all of that stuff.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't. When it's like talked about in this way, it doesn't feel like there's like a really a big rift between everybody, because I mean that's basically, we use the word steal. I do like the word mimesis better, or absorb. Everybody's always absorbing what's around them, so yes. Unless it's like direct like plagiarizing and claiming it's yours. But I think that actually is the thorn that's in everybody's side, is that Christianity or Abrahamic faiths claim it is theirs. Yes. And then they stand firmly against anything like that. We are the oldest. We are the ones these are all our stories. No one else had these. These are the correct ones.
Or even worse, they say they stole it from us.
Correct.
That makes it even worse. But what they're doing is what everyone else is doing. Everyone's absorbing and doing miming culture around them. It's normal. But like you said, they're the ones who are claiming it as their own. The morality, the ethics, the metaphysics, they're claiming it as their own, when we know these things go back to the pre-Socratics and all these other places,
Right. So even if the language was older or newer, it doesn't really matter at that point. It's still really clear, even if you just wrote it in your own words, that I don't know, that's kind of a weak foot to stand on, that you're the reason why all this stuff is here is because you're the absolute oldest and the authority and all this stuff. And sometimes I think focusing on that is maybe more helpful than I guess like all of us tearing each other apart over, I don't know, certain small disagreements maybe about the language, because
that gets the clicks though, right?
Well, yeah, that, and also emotionally,
it's just feeding an algorithm for YouTube, right? Like, I'm sure most of these people don't actually hate each other. They're just playing into the algorithm, right?
I still think it's a lot too, like unconsciously for all of us. Like honestly,
of course,
it's just when I'm building like a foundation of how I viewed Christianity, even in my atheistic phase, no way in hell did I have any kind of picture like this stuff in my head at all. And just is like, that just doesn't make any sense. It's just kind of fairy tale. Like, I guess it's just all meaningless or whatever else. And now it's like all of a sudden reintegrated itself back in to be like, oh, this actually was pretty damn important. And we've been misreading it. It makes me think of all of it differently. It also makes you think of like when you make arguments about gods, right? For me, anyway, from coming from an atheistic phase in my later 20s, which you're always arguing over this idea of like, well, you believe in this being who's a god, a singular character who is conscious like us and has a beard in the sky and whatever else, right? And that becomes like the main setup for the believer non-believer debate. When the reality is like we all might be misusing the word God completely because the Christians redefined it during the Dark Ages and anthropomorphized it. Although I do know that there were like God, emperor, kings, and rulers, tyrannical rulers who would say they were directly from the gods or they were the God incarnate. So I think there's something to that, but to totally like be reintroduced to all of this stuff and realize that like the way they were talking about gods, to even start the argument of whether gods exist or they don't exist, when in our heads we have the imagination that someone's talking about an invisible being and someone's not, kind of like makes us chase our own tails, if that makes any sense. Like I feel like there's a lot of that with a lot of our language, like the word drugs, for instance, the negative connotation versus medicine. Transcendence, eternal life versus ionic life. I don't know. There's like all these ways. So maybe that's that like that disruption is maybe a lot for everybody's reality, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
No. Well,
I think a lot of people have a problem with it either way. And like if you have a conversation with a Christian, for example, sometimes you get this weird, almost like you've confused them so much just by not even believing it, that it's almost kind of like you can't even talk to them sometimes about it. I found it kind of difficult to even try to even talk about anything with the channel with anybody that's Christian, except for just a handful of people. I did reach out to this one channel, and this poor guy, he's kind of a little neo-Neoscopes, if you will, really fragile. The internet has, and but when he would stop and he would pray, like I commented in the thing, like, hey man, you got to come on the show and tell me your story, like I do with whoever. And I hit him up in an email, and he said he had to pray about it. But during the live stream, when I commented to him, he kind of stopped everything he was doing and he started giving a sermon against witchcraft. So if anybody out there is curious, I don't really do any sort of witchcraft or anything. It's just in the bodybuilding world, I manipulated a lot of bodybuilders physiques with a lot of chemicals, and I had a lot of females. And so it's just sort of an inside joke, but that, or the whole, trying to advocate for entheogens in Christianity. I would only hope it would be okay. Like you go do the archaeological digs, we find the opium, we find the cannabis, and it's this weird trying to, well, there's no way it survived that long. So that's got to be a fake article, or it's like, wow, God. And if you even mention the ergot concept that I talk about, just, let's say they were putting symbolism like that in the Bible, just sort of a semi undertone. I would only imagine that like the 1st century, 2nd century, 3rd century Christians and beyond would know what just, ergot is. And reading a passage like that, this guy can shit out baskets of bread and fish like that. So what's the act of desperation of going into the wheat fields and eating from the tops of the head, or rolling it in their hands? Like what? And so I didn't really understand, but I've asked that question to Christians, and like, well, the reason why the Pharisees were mad was because the Pharisees were mad was because it was on the Sabbath. And I was like, wait a minute. So you're not allowed to eat on the Sabbath? You realize right after that, he mentions David and the consecrated bread specifically. He says how he was eating it and he gave it to his disciples. You're allowed to eat on the Sabbath, right? Like, don't people eat on the Sabbath?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Sabbath isn't about
There's like
not eating.
certain preparations you can't do because it's
Right,
working.
you can't go work.
But they did have slaves that we could do it who are non-Jewish. That's one way to get around it.
I used to be one.
Yeah,
I used to be security for Jews.
But yeah, the idea was like you have to have your food prepped by the day before. There's certain Sabbath regulations and how they do it. Like there's ways that of course you eat on the Sabbath. Actually, you kind of would party a little bit. It was party day.
That's what they did every Saturday.
You drink wine
in Miami.
You drink wine and you eat a nice meal, and you had chill out and had a good time. That's the whole point of Sabbath.
So I did security at this Chabad in Miami, and the rabbis would get drunk, and then they would have this yoga in the park. All these non-Jewish ladies would be out there doing yoga, and they'd come out there and just sort of watch the women doing yoga. Yeah. Lots of down dogs, lots of, and they couldn't turn their lights on, so I would have to go turn their ligh's on for them.
Yeah, that's Saturn's Day, baby. Saturn's Day.
So what is like the big I guess adverse reaction to Aman? I know that they're I don't know him personally. I know that I hear stories about people being very protective in the inner groups. Like obviously I'm friends with Witch Doctor, so he tells me stuff. I've never experienced it, but I know that's how groups get and stuff like that. And this is all kind of like an exciting thing. But in terms of like the circle of like people who are interested in religion and they're interested in all the stuff we're talking about, what is the big adverse reaction, I guess, with him right now? Because if it's over like the age of the kid,
it's way deeper. It's way more than that.
Oh, okay. Like or the Septuagint thing.
He's just kind of making. I'll just say.
I mean, I would like to see like he puts a lot of videos up with like the texts on there.
Yes,
I'd like
he puts the text on the screen
down.
He puts this is what he's known. I've seen him do this 100 times, where he flashes Greek on the screen, hoping most of his audience can't check it or won't, and he completely butchers what's on the screen and just says it's something that it's not.
Has there been anybody that's like so because he has so much content up there now?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be easy? Not easy. I guess it would be hard because you'd really have to be good at the ancient Greek thing. But would it be good to take an example of what you just said and then break it down and show how that's
been done by Steve. Steve's whole 4-hour video is doing just that.
Okay.
And now no one liked the video. Everyone hated on the video, and then I don't think they even watched it. I guess one of the reasons that I think is fair was there was a lot of quacking noises in the video. People couldn't get past the quacking noises because there were so many quacks.
Yeah.
And
so what is the opposing the narrative that's being
I've got a painted? Good example here.
Meaning it still sounds like from is Steve Crossbible, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it still seems like from that point of view, which it's fine if he takes that position. He is supporting the fairy tale version of Christianity and how all of that functioned, and that's where the angle he's coming from, where he's not explore. So if you're going to find things wrong, that's cool, but we're exploring it with all the additional new information, the evidence that's presented itself, as opposed to there were some things that were butchered. Therefore, the fairy tale is the correct view of things, and I know that's his religion too. So you don't have to do that, Mr. Crossbible. I'm not trying to.
Yeah, I don't think he's saying therefore the traditional way is true, because Stephen accepts Dennis MacDonald's mimesis stuff with the Homeric and Euripidean influence on the Bible. Stephen is totally okay. Like he just wants to see. I think his measurement is is there actually something plausible here in the Greek, or are you just taking words and saying they mean something else? And a lot of times what Amen does was he finds a word in Greek that's in the Gospels or something. He goes to the LSJ, and then he'll look at LSJ and it's like he's looking at LSJ like it's a menu where he can just go and look and go, oh, over here by Herodotus, he used it in this way. I think I'm just going to make the Gospels use it that way. And it seems like that. And he's not the only one that does this. Richard Carrier just did this recently with the word docene, docetist. He sort of just redefined the term Docetist to mean mythicist.
It's like, taking the word out of the context. It's like if we wrote a book, if someone wrote a book today with the word gay in it, and then someone found it 400 years from now, how do they know it's the gay of today or the gay from 1930 that's happy? They're choosing the definition of that they want rather than
you got to look at the
ignoring the semantic drift.
That's why I brought up the pharmacon thing. When I brought up those two sources earlier that say they got Christed with a drug, that word pharmacon needs to be there. If it's not, we don't know if it's actually a drug or not, especially in some cases where it says it's explicitly not, where it'll say olive oil or something. And then it's like, the context is what matters.
That's why I'd like to see the other examples of antiquity, because we'd be able to see that in other texts and other cultures, them using those words like that. Like, I don't know, because I know there's a lot out there. But if the baseline is only what Christianity has told us, and we've already just talked about how much they've not been correct / obfuscated / changed things / and Christianity is a whole Abrahamic faith. I mean, so like if the thing is like, well, he's butchered this word because it means this in other places, but he can't prove it means this in the Bible. Who's telling you it means that in the Bible other than the religion that has been lying about it the whole time? Does that make sense? So
no, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's if he used the word wrong in the like, if he was using and I'm not saying I'm not smart enough to check all of that stuff, but like, you're saying, well, the word means this. He's saying it means this, but he's using that meaning from like Herodotus or something like that. And it's also been used like this, that he's wrong about, in other texts, as opposed to in all other texts outside of the Bible, it's used a certain way. And only in the Bible is it used this fairy tale way. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. I think Sindone is a prime example of this, the word Sindone. So he tells people Sindone is a medicated bandage. And then, okay, let's see the evidence. Well, there are certain parts in Galen where he does use the term Sindone, but then he also says it's applicable. They apply it with pharmacon, and they anoint it with some pharmacon, and then it put the Sindone on the patient. So you have two different words there. The pharmacon is where it's telling us the drugs are in. The Sindone is the cloth or shroud. It puts it on the Sindone, puts it on the patient. There's three different cases. We have person, we have a Sindone, and we have pharmacon. In the case of Mark, where it says the Sindone fell off of him, it doesn't say a Sindone full of pharmacon fell off of him. It just says Sindone. And
what was the Sindone doing on him to begin with? What is the other plot point that even makes sense?
When you look at
because Sindone doesn't denote size. Sindone can be like Sindone itself doesn't denote the size of the cloth, right?
Oh, I don't care. I'm talking about the plot point of the story. Like,
the word is usually
plot point there.
The word is usually used for burial shrouds. That's why let me share my screen real quick if I could. That's why
I missed it.
It's right here. That's why a Sindonology
is getting resurrected.
Yes, there's a whole study called Sindonology. It's the study of the Shroud of Turin. Like, this is like a known word for Sindonology. Yes,
unbelievable.
Sindonology. Look, Sindonology is the scientific and scholarly study of the Shroud of Turin, a linen cloth that bears the image. So, like, this is not. Everyone knows what this word means. I hate this. I hate to use the term "everyone knows this" because that doesn't really prove anything. But like in the case of Sindone, it's not. There's nothing weird about it. It's a simple word. It kind of just means like some sort of shroud or cloth. Now you have to find the context where it has the drug in there to say it's medicated.
Okay, so then therefore we'd I'd fall back on he has a like plot point wise. This is just plot point wise. You're telling me the story. This kid has a Sindone on because he was in the graveyard and Jesus brought him back to life in this fairy tale, and he ran away. His Sindone ran away.
That's one of the things.
One of the explanations. There's
therefore, that's why I fall back on it's defending the fairy tale, right? That's been wrong.
Well, I don't think it's defending the fairy tale. I just think that he's just saying if the fairy tale doesn't necessarily have to be the default if Almond's wrong. Amen we can just look at Amen as
exactly.
we're just looking at Amen. We're not saying if Amen's wrong, therefore the fairy tale's right. Because I've been totally open about Mark 14 since I've discovered it. It's weird.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on?
The whole Bible's weird to me, man.
The whole Bible's weird. And this is why there's so many disagreements on it. There's so many scholars. What's his name? I have his book over here somewhere. Wrote an entire...
People have been talking about Mark 14, 51, 52 for a decade, hundreds of years. It's not
this
new.
Guy right here, Morton Smith, has his own interpretation that's kind of close to Amon Hillman's. He thinks there's some weird sexual stuff going on there. Fine. Dennis McDonald thinks it's ripping off Homer. Dennis McDonald's found a passage in Homer where there's another kid running away naked with a sin dome coming off. He thinks there's a mimesis happening.
Epiphanius, or what's his name?
I got a good question.
I cited that book in my book. There's a bunch of passages that he does that with, where if I was I do write, right, or whatever, and movies I've seen, books I've read, ends up kind of getting moved around a little bit sometimes when I'm writing these fiction stories, you know. And so at the time, if you were a Greek scribe, learning how to write Greek and all that stuff, what have you read? You've read Homer, you've read all the Greek stuff, I would only imagine, because and whatever else we had that we don't have anymore. But those were obviously a little bit more popular, so everyone had read them. And so when they're writing these stories, and it might even be more than one author, which I bring up the topic with them referring to the young ruler as Neonias earlier, and then the Neoniskos later. That could have just been a continuity error, because we had the Neoniskos later, and it would make sense. Chase is a movie director, so it's like if I was making a movie about this, there'd be some continuity through the story, at least an attempt at it, but then we also have that, like we said, that lost Marcion. And it almost seems like when I'm writing books or doing bullshit papers and YouTube articles, you move stuff around, and I've chopped out huge portions of different books I've written that were fiction, that just didn't need to be there. Like my dad's he's an author. He's always like, write 200,000 words and chop it down to 80, or chop it down to 100, 120 or whatever. And so same thing with anyone writing a story, and as far as the existence of the actual Jesus, a lot of people will say that there's at least some guy, and more than likely that was his name, just considering that's what stuck. And then there's all these other Bar Jesus and these other fake messiahs, it's like, well, it might have even been his name. But as far as what his life was like, could have been so different from what is in that story, which is where I appreciate movies like Scorsese's The Last Temptation of Christ, or The Life of Brian. That'll cause outrage in the theater, but so did The Last Temptation of Christ with Willem Dafoe, where Judas is sort of more.
You ever see that German actor who's from the Werner Herzog? Werner Herzog. You know who Werner Herzog is? There's a German actor.
I know the name.
The name.
He's
Werner Herzog had this guy who always starred in his films.
Yes, he's a wild
actor.
When they drug the boat in the jungle.
Dude, if you can pull this up, he did a Jesus interpretation. It is so crazy that the crowd was getting pissed at him, and he was like mocking all them. It is, what's his name?
I have to look it up. I forgot. I know who you're talking about.
Shit, we got to find his name.
I have a good example of an Amen pull up here too for later.
Cool.
Yeah.
Klaus Kinski. Yeah. Look up Klaus Kinski Jesus. While you're looking that up though, Klaus Klaus Kinski Jesus, and I'm sure it's gonna be worth it. But just to go back to what you said about Dennis McDonald, his theory, and this is not widely accepted, it's just another theory, is that the naked youth fleeing is an echoing the Iliad, where right before the Troy falls, there is a young warrior, a Neoniskos, who's caught and escapes, and his tunic gets ripped off, and he flees away naked. And then the next scene is the fall of Troy. So it's like the author of the Gospels is saying Jesus' death is so big, it's like the fall of Troy.
Oh, interesting.
It's a weird theory. I'm not going to say it has to be true, but I get why he's putting that out there. Now, as far as Amen, I don't even think that his Mark 14 stuff would be that, like, I wouldn't care about it that much. It didn't really bother me for the longest time. I'm fine to coexist with him having a theory out that I disagree with. But it's that then he starts that the way he gets about it. Everyone's lying about it except for me. They don't know Greek. Only I, like that type of rhetoric that's where he kind of opens himself up for criticism in that way, where he could have been like Dan Brown, the author Dan Brown. He's not even a scholar, but he did all this crazy Illuminati 1776 stuff. The secret codes everywhere, and like some of it's very fascinating. Some of it's like, whoa, is he onto something? But you notice how when he got criticized by academics, he just didn't even care. He just was like, great, I'm gonna write more books now. That to me is like, I commend that type of thing. You put your theories out there. This is what I think, and then people can take it or leave it. It doesn't have to be, if you don't listen to me or you don't follow me, then we can't be friends. And I'm gonna call you the brothel, and then I'm gonna say you have hubris. And look at the hubris of this guy. He disagrees with me. That to me, that's the only thing that I think needs. That's the problem. Is right there.
Yeah.
You know?
When that demon takes a hold of him.
Yeah, he's got that demonic possession.
He starts spinning out of control.
I just like the idea of like how much he has. Oh, sorry, Marcel, are you talking, buddy?
Oh, you good?
Yeah. Just go ahead.
Oh, my bad. I like the idea of like how many. I mean, how much bigger the picture's gotten. Whether he's shown new stuff or whether he's put together this whole thing in a way that's never been experienced, I don't think, for anybody, especially now that we have the internet and everybody can immediately go to these databases and look up the books and compare and contrast and all these other things. And so I'm just more in the lane of the inspiration that it brings, as opposed to like an allergic reaction to constantly find the things that are wrong and then kind of hyper focus on it. Because there's so many things and so many doorways that have been opened since the two of you basically, I think, got together. That, I mean, I might be wrong about that, but I mean, I basically ran into him running into you on YouTube, and it's like changed the whole face of biblical scholarship and possibly the whole face of how we view antiquity and all of these cultures and stuff like that. So I think I'm just more interested in the inspiration of like, okay, yes, and it's like, okay, like, because you don't pull up that other book, the Jesus Magician book, and go like, and this guy's wrong. You know what I mean? But people are doing that to Aman without like fully bringing anything else to the table besides, well, he's really wacky and I don't like the way he acts, and and I get that when you want to have definitely when you want to have a debate, or if you are interested in like I don't know, some kind of resolution or whatever conflict that he's saying, well, I'm the only one that can read it.
That's why I think he opens up for that. And I think that's why he gets the treatment he does, because he's sort of asking for it. Once you start to make the claims that
he is the gadfly.
I'm the guy who knows I'm the guy who's translating Galen, and I'm this, I'm that, and these scholars are all lying to you, except they don't know, they can't see my theories because they just don't know Greek. When you start saying that, you're opening yourself up because like you're right. Morton Smith had a lot of wacky theories too, in my opinion, but I think he was a great scholar, and you don't see me going around focused on what Morton Smith said, because he wasn't really putting himself out there and going, this people are the brothel, this people are the problem, and I'm the solution type of thing. Yeah. And I think if he
definitely poked holes in these scholars though. Like,
oh yeah, he's right about a lot of shit he says. Time.
So
he's right about a lot of shit he says. I've been very clear about that from day one. He's right about these divinity school theologian types. They are not good. They don't know a lot of stuff. They know a lot of primary sources. They're just it's very low tier. Amen is right about that.
Yeah. what are the chances that we can get him on I mean, like, I do like the idea of him getting in an arena with, who's that? The Christian face of America right now? The guy who's
Oh,
on
Wes
Rogan.
Huff.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do
Wes
like
Huff
that
doesn't want to do
idea.
it. Wes Huff doesn't want to
I
do it.
know.
That
And
is the
that makes it look a lot worse for
it
Wes. No offense,
does
buddy.
absolutely, but at the same
Yeah, yeah.
time, and people need to know this. Yes, Wes Huff is running from Amon Hillman. That's a
Yeah.
win. That's a win for Amon. But at the same time, there are classical philologists and historians that have said they would debate Amon. What's his name? Luke Gordon. Luke Gordon is a philologist. I forgot what university he's teaching at right now. Current professor at a classical philologist, knows Greek, gangster. Says, yes,
Ahmed
I will
held up
debate.
one of his books the other day and
Said,
referenced
yes,
him.
I will debate Amon Hillman. Amon Hillman was notified about this, ran from it. Richard Carrier said, yes, I would debate Amon Hillman. Amon Hillman ran from it. I said I would debate Amon Hillman. Amon Hillman ran from it. Steven said he'll debate Amon Hillman. Amon Hillman runs from more debates than people run from him. That is a fact.
So the debate, what were the debate, what were you guys, what would they be interested in debating? Why wouldn't they make videos just to prove, if they can slam them, it would take 30 minutes just to put all the stuff up there, retranslate it, and then explain how it's all, hoo-ha. But I just haven't seen that yet.
Well,
I
that's
have
what
to check
Steven
that
has
one
done.
video.
That's a video that I'm working on that's going to do some of that. And I'm being very thorough. I'm also giving him credit. I'm doing a very balanced approach. The first part of the video is showing where I think he's right. I want to get that out the way. I do some of the purple, show some of these purple sources, some of these drug sources, all that, and then I get into what I think he's wrong about. But people have Steven's video just kind of destroys most of his really radical claims, in my opinion. I did a video showing why he's wrong about the parts of the Old Testament being originally Greek. Some other people have touched on it. Again, the Mark 14 thing, why, I don't know. I guess the debate would be, why do you think Mark 14 has this interpretation? Why do you think Christ just means drugs? I think we'd be in that department. I think that's where the debate would go.
Where do you think? Yeah, that's where the debate would go. That's an interesting direction, especially for, I think, the two of you. Where do you think this leaves Christianity in general? So it feels like a lot of us are going to be able to integrate this in, and whatever life journey we're on, we're going to now kind of have this new lens and kind of grow in different directions. But do you think this is something that's ever going to actually pierce the veil of how it seems like Christians in general?
Oh, it's already been happening.
How poorly they understand their own religion. Is this getting through? Is this something that's starting to make sense for some of them, and recontextualizing all of this stuff? Or is it kind of just, let's just not look at this, and that guy's a wacky idiot, and I don't know.
I think that's been going on already without Almond needing to totally be completely on the radical, Jesus was a pedophile type of thing. I think that's happening without that. You don't need to go that far. There's already been so much breaking the ice of 500 years ago, everyone was Christian in the West. Nobody wasn't Christian unless you were Jewish. The Muslims lived in the Ottoman Empire or somewhere else. So everyone was Christian 500 years ago. And then 400 years ago, we're getting in the 1700s now. All of a sudden, there starts to be a little bit more open-minded people, but it's still mostly Christian. Every century since then, look at now. Now we're talking still more than half of the United States is Christian, but a lot of people don't buy it anymore.
Yeah, but the power structures are very strong right now.
I agree. I agree.
And
you're absolutely right.
And that's one
There's
of the
a lot of work that needs to be done. You're right.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I galvanize. I have an instinct to galvanize, maybe because I'm also not 28 and like to fight anymore. But it's I kind of, it's if that writing ever starts to show up more on my wall or on your guys' wall, I want to be there to back you guys up. I want to be that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want people to get picked off one by one. And then this, a lot of this stuff gets shut down because it is disruptive or something. I know it sounds a little paranoid, but it does seem like those structures are really strong. And I also hear a lot of people I'm in Florida, so this would make sense, but a lot more religiosity kicking up because I think of, how much is changing so rapidly, the onslaught of information, fear, and all that other stuff. But, the way the school systems are being, handled, and the way they're starting to pass more and more laws against, like we just had one with our psychedelic mushroom thing. They like slipped it in even though nobody wanted it. And now it's a felony to have that shit. It's like, dude, we're going backwards. Even if most of the people don't believe it, they're implementing like some of these strategies. So
I don't know what.
I like the idea of galvanizing more because, that just helps, I guess, people realize that, you're not alone in kind of questioning this stuff. And like,
but I also think it could backfire if people are so outlandish in how they treat the material. What it does is the average person sees it and goes, well, let's see if this is correct. And then if it's not correct, they're like, oh, maybe the fairy tale's true.
All right.
I think it could have I think it could actually, and I mean, think about it. The last couple of years, we're seeing a huge resurgence in Christianity with Wes Huff, and something's going on where something's not working in the skeptic side. Something's not clicking right now where it was a few years ago. So I don't know. Yeah, they might see Amon Hillman as like a demon and go, "Whoa, they definitely do. Christianity's right." Like, you know what I mean? He might have a backwards effect. I don't know. Maybe not on everybody, but
I just want the idea of them using entheogens to be pretty much the only thing, that that I asked them to accept, and only because, I got war buddies and stuff, and PTSD sucks. My wife is in school, she's finishing her master's in psychedelic investigation, and there's a use for it. But in a perfect world, I know all of us wish that churches somehow were like how they were back then, where
some of them
you could go and have an experience like that, and you could actually heal for fucking once, considering they keep milking everything that we got, and they make life, the system sucks. Life can be tough, and I definitely know that if a country that likes to fucking fund war all the time, is some guys, they never really get over it. And, sometimes church doesn't work out for them, trying to get rid of PTSD. And now you see they got tattoos of upside down crosses on their arm because they lost all their buddies when they were over there. And the only thing that's helped guys is, having an experience like that. And, myself, I've had a lot of guys on the team with me when I used to do the security with Trump and RNC and DeSantis and stuff. And you'd be surprised how many of them started growing their own and doing it just because they were tired of all the, the VA wants to shove every freaking pill down your face and treat you like a human guinea pig for a little while just to keep you happy. Some people want the drugs, and they let a back injury last for 20 years and they can't get off of it. And I recently had a buddy, Mike Leal. He went and did Ibogaine to help. Cool. He was in 2nd Ranger Bat, so they were in a pretty shitty area, and he's battled with mental health and stuff. And if Christians could accept that, I had a conversation the other day where someone said, well, eating from the tree of knowledge, it says in the Bible that you're, if
how do you know it's not the tree of life?
I was like, motherfucker, God grew the goddamn plants. Okay.
What about the tree of life? How do you know it's not the tree of life? I would say, forget about the tree of knowledge. This is the tree of life right here.
Right. I was like, dude, the rules of the religion don't apply to someone who doesn't believe it.
Plus that, they
ask you these weird questions like, well, how do you deal with your sin debt? I'm like, your sin debt? What the fuck? My kid is a week old. You saying he's got something that he owes somebody something?
Yeah, that mentality creates a really backwards world.
Yes.
Where because the ancients thought of virtue as the highest good, where you had to earn virtue. You had to do things in the world to be virtuous. In this new paradigm of Christianity, the virtue is nothing.
They just have to think it and say the right word.
Yes. You just have to, in fact, you're never going to be virtuous. You're always going to be a sinner. You're worthless. You should die. Unless you align with us.
And then you can just say sorry and it goes away.
Unless you completely align with our thinking, then you're just okay. You're just enough.
dude.
Everyone's
And that,
like, on my deathbed, I'll ask for forgiveness, and I'm good, right? And it's like,
yeah. What a cop out. That's such.
I mean,
I just that's what I do. That's why I despise it, in my opinion. I just don't see it as a good way to govern people. I just don't see it.
The linguistic nature of that bargain that they have of eternal life, the ionic life versus eternal life, you know. And I know that there's like, I haven't. That's one of the things I would be diving into right now. Pulling that pen and showing, if it can be shown in a really exact way, hey, bro, they made this shit up. Like, that's a big pen to pull out of a lot of these people, because that I've you know, things like that I think would like take the power away from some of this that it has on people or something like that. I don't know if that makes any sense. So
I don't think
it is
they
important.
realize they don't even sometimes they don't understand, although Christianity tries to sort of emulate this a little bit. A long time, 2,000 years ago, I think this kind of stuff, awesome, 1,000 years into it, great, awesome. Now we got another religion and they want to fucking kill everybody, so it kind of bred another thing too, it's a Judaism, Christianity, you get Islam, whatever. But as time progresses, seems like Christians now, they break all the rules. They share Instagram memes. I've been calling them like Chick-fil-A Christians,
Yeah, Chick-fil-A Christians.
But they go to Chick-fil-A and they share memes on Instagram that they wear a fucking polo shirt, and they might go to New Spring Church where they got a band playing Linkin Park.
Right.
In the end. So, but there's this weird, there's sort of this guilt that they sort of cast on everybody just a little bit. And I still kind of want to support them a little, it's sort of like, I don't know how to say it. They sort of, I don't want to copy somebody else, but it's like there's this mental block, and of the metaphysical hierarchy that exists, religion's actually like in the middle rung. They haven't zoomed out to see that there's a higher rung, which would be like spirituality, and then an even higher rung of absolute truth, sort of, if you will. And below religion is agnosticism, and then below that is atheism, which is the lowest form of metaphysical anything. And so their pie chart that makes them that one sliver that has religion or that metaphysical sliver in the pie.
Yeah, exactly.
A big old cross across the front of it. And the idea that they can't replace that with anything because of what's been ingrained into how they see this whole concept of when you die, you do really good stuff, you go to heaven. There's the grandma and Jesus and the Backstreet Boys, like in the movie, This Is the End, they all go to heaven, the palm trees. And just trying to explain to them that, feeling the Holy Spirit, giving these visions to babies, giving these visions to his dudes, giving them, whatever. The concept that just the psychedelic experiences that sort of make you feel like you're with the Holy Spirit. I feel like people that have done psychedelics don't have a problem with that. But I do ask everybody that's like a Bible believing Christian, the trademark, they believe in the divine Jesus. I always ask them, like, us saying like concepts like Jesus is a eunuch or something or whatever, that's not really as crazy as believing that there was the incarnation of a deity walking the fuck around, like Hercules or Achilles or whatever. And it's like, so wait, if I believe in the divine Jesus, am I allowed to also believe in Hercules? Because I'd rather worship that, because that is, there's things about that I, I'm bodybuilder and shit, whatever. But no, that's, you can't ask that kind of question, because it almost makes it seem that what they're living in and believing is in real time. They have this sort of admission that, no, I don't believe in Hercules. That's ridiculous. Right. It's like, well, hold on a minute. Yeah, not that was necessarily the story the whole time, but I mean, it was
right. That's why Nietzsche called Apollonian that's why he thinks Christianity is actually too rational, because in a way they are the atheists.
Yeah,
they're the atheists for every other religion out there, and they treat their mythology as actual history that actually happened, and this is all very rational. We're supposed to do this because God said so. They have it sounds weird because you think of Christianity as superstitious fairy tale, but to them it's rational history and it needs to be done.
Yep.
And so it puts us in a weird state of like, Hercules is just a myth. Why believe in that? Well, it's like, can't you look in the mirror and see that your own story is a myth too?
Yeah.
Like, no, of course not.
Get it.
Powerful cognitive dissonance.
It is very powerful. Yeah. Exactly.
I see the cool stuff about it. Like, I can be a fan of it. Makes it hard to be a fan of the religion and not believe it, because then people think I'm the fucking devil. They're like, well, what you're doing though, it's causing it would be the work of Satan, and their whole concept of Satan is fucking off, you know. And I'm like, oh my God, bro, you're having the 7th grade arguments I had with me now at whatever fucking age you are now, with not, 40 something years old or however old, people will be when I've had these conversations. I had one recently. Boy, I regretted that shit. The guy was, I don't need to say it, but I will. He was quirky in his own way, sort of an Asperger's sort of mannerisms, slightly on the spectrum sort of mannerisms. And when I would try to talk and stuff, he would just overpower it with doctrine and dogma.
Oh, yeah.
That was the whole sin debt thing. It was like, what? And he's like, that's only in your rule book. I was like, I lived in Panama as a kid, okay? And do I not get to, is it because I'm white and I'm supposed to be like you? Because if I was from fucking Syria, you wouldn't give a shit if I was Muslim. You wouldn't even bring it up. You wouldn't even care. You wouldn't even try. You wouldn't do this thing, the whole Mormon, try to convert me and, off my front porch sort of thing. You wouldn't do this. And he wasn't a Mormon, but it was just, it was like, I think there's something about, I have felt just being a white dude from the South that they were even more disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they want you to be the poster boy, the next one to come and really drive the fucking delusion, just, and into all these kids. Mm-hmm. They want you to be the next youth minister. They want you to be the next guy that goes to seminary school and comes and lives in the fucking house and takes care of the church and stuff. And I went to churches growing up, and I was openly atheist the whole time. And I would talk to the youth ministers and I would ask him all these hard questions, and he fucking hated it. Mm-hmm. Because it was just so impossible. They want an easy job. I mean, after all, no offense to people that do that for a living, but if you wind up being a pastor or a youth minister, some of the guys that I have known that have ended up doing that kind of shit were like, not always the best characters. And, and it was like one time I was doing construction when I finally decided to leave the gym industry. And I'm riding around with this guy who was like 6'5", freaking 350 pounds, and he was a pastor. But because he didn't have a church at the moment, he was doing construction. This was the most evil man I met in my life. Screaming all kinds of racist shit out the freaking window of his van.
What?
And I'm riding around with him, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna.
He's the pastor?
Yes.
Oh wow, yeah, that's how my pastor was.
Backpage Girls,
Oh, he didn't do that stuff. Backpage Girls, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, you can hide who you are, I think. System like that.
I had a pastor who was completely like what you said, except for the Backpage stuff, but he was so full of himself. Like, he called himself a prophet. He was like, he's like very full, very narcissistic. Says that I can kill myself with an AK-47 and wake up in heaven because God loves me. And like I can murder all of you. He said I can murder all of you right now, and turn the gun on myself and kill myself, and I would wake up in heaven because of my faith.
I'm so glad you're not with that dude anymore. That is insane.
He was a very far right wing. It's Zionist, no apologetics. And this is what happened when I started challenging the King James Bible, because he was a King James onlyist. I saw a different side of him come out, where he was like, it doesn't matter what scholarship you look at. I don't care if you learn Greek and Hebrew. I don't care. The King James Bible is correct because the Holy Spirit told me. End of discussion. That was it. And that was how I left. That was when I left the church, because I was like, this guy's just completely nuts. But because I was going to church with real honest questions. It was not when everyone was there. I didn't do it in the middle of church. I did it after, or before. Show up early or late, and I would say, "Look, you told me that this King James is perfect. I'm looking online. I'm seeing that there's different manuscripts, and that King James has the Latin Bible, not the Greek. The original Bible was Greek. What do you think about this? What do you think about what this says? What do you think about this verse and this verse?" And he was like, "None of that. Everything you're doing right now is just the devil. None of this matters. I don't care what scholars tell you. I don't care what Greek or Hebrew. The King James is perfect because the Holy Spirit told me." And I was just like, that's it. There's nothing I can say. We're stuck.
Yeah, there's in the Army, if somebody goes through a school like Ranger School or, whatever, Pathfinder, Jump Master School, but I usually use the analogy with Ranger School. Once somebody's gotten a PhD or a Ranger tab, they're never going to learn another thing ever again.
Right.
They now know everything. And I have heard the most ridiculous shit come out the mouths of seasoned combat Rangers. That was just absolute fucking bullshit. They confidently delivered the sentence with, they were right. They were firm believer in it. And if you try to correct these people, they look at you like you're subordinate in more than just rank, like peasant, like how dare you question me or whatever. And I feel that sometimes from the PhD community. And I guess the example I'll use is, Graham Hancock's a cool dude, man. I have a hard time with Flint Dibble coming after him so hard. And then that long-haired kid with the mustache that does his, I watched ancient archaeology, so you don't have to, blah, blah, blah.
That's got some good points, man.
Man, y'all suck, bro. One of my experiences when I saw God, and I don't try to tell, I do this with Christians, though. As I go, well, have you seen God? And they're like, no. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Well, when I saw her, it was a black lady. So, like, what the fuck do you have to say to that? I was like, and she definitely was God, or she was a combination of every culture put into one face. Because I guess with this anthropology brain that my mom kind of gave me, that's what the creator of everything we look like would look like, right? So the original tribe.
You got to write a book and tell us the rules, and then that's the answer, and then we'll just listen to you. Is that okay? That's kind of what happens, right? Like,
Yo, so we're at about 2 hours, man. Marcel, did you want to play anything?
Yeah, do you want to just go over that video, and I just want to maybe show you why this is just
I'm gonna go grab a drink real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah,
go ahead and get it ready, bro. You can pull it up, right, Marcel?
Yeah,
and you can show that. You can show that example real fast if you want to.
I want to, because he talks about me lying to you.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
He talks about me lying to you, and I just want to address that because you were there, you saw what happened. All I did was show you what the primary sources said. I didn't tell you my theory. I didn't say I think the primary. I literally just showed you the primary sources. Apparently, that's lying today. Apparently, digging into the primary sources is lying now. We live in a backwards. Lying to people is telling the truth. Like Amon Hillman can just come out and say, "I think this Greek right here it says something completely different, and no one else agrees with me except for that's fine." But when I come and just literally show you the primary sources and give you the Loeb translation of it, that's lying now. It's such backwards. Anyway, let's play the clip and I'll debunk it.
Yeah, go ahead, Marcel.
This video will likely be a bit painful for Gnostic Informant in particular, I think. But these guys have really been bullshitting heavily about this whole Neoniscus.
All right, can you pause it real quick?
They're terrified that the dude is young. I don't think Gnostic is, but the other guys are terrified. They want the guy to be old.
Look, you notice I'm not terrified. Fine. I don't know why anyone would be terrified. But just go back a second. Go back to where I wanted to pause it. I just want to show you. Yes.
Notice terrified that the dude is young.
Pause it. That guy's that picture from 1522.
Antonio de Correggio.
He keeps showing this picture from 1522 like it represents the first century. It's from the 16th freaking century. Why does this matter? What the fuck are you doing?
What I said one time, I showed the picture. I said, well, this particular artist wanted to draw this particular Dionysios, on the cusp of puberty. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I don't even know how we would determine that from this painting, but
everybody looks
fine. I just don't know why he uses it as like a slam dunk against the primary sources from antiquity.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, this is your brain is no longer in your head. If you think a painting from 1522 is a better description of a text from the 1st century than text from the 1st century, like I showed Philo. Right. Philo literally is a Jewish author from the 1st century who writes that Nianiskos is 21 to 30. But this 1522 painting is going to be better than Philo. Okay. Anyways, presume. Let's go.
Yeah.
I think Gnostic is, but the other guys are terrified. They want the guy to be old.
They
want the guy to be Radar's age. And so they talk about him, and I'll show you what Gnostic did.
Pause it. Notice how he's using this term, they want. No one wants anything. The only people that want something is you, Seaman all over your face. Amon Hillman, Seaman all over your face. That's what you should call yourself. Seaman all over my face. That's what you should call yourself. From Amon Hillman. Dude literally admits in this video that Amon's wrong, but then still does apologetics for him. He literally goes, yeah, okay, fine. The primary sources are 15 to 30, but you guys are all pathetic, and you guys are all losers. What is your point? What's the entire point of this video? The thing I'm trying to say before we presume is, I know I can't even help myself, dude. This is bad. Is that he keeps saying we want something. We want Jesus to do this. We want Jesus to. None of us give a shit about what we want Jesus to do. All we care about is what the text says. It's Amon Hillman who wants this text to be a prepubescent boy, and you want semen all over your face from Amon Hillman. That's it. You're just a boomer who saw Amon Hillman blow up on Danny Jones, and now you want his semen all over your face because you want some sort of clout from it.
Would you debate him on this show?
I told him, let's debate. He ran from it. So not only are you semen all over your face, you're semen all over your face and running away from Gnostic Informant. Clip that, motherfucker.
If you're watching,
I'm challenging Seaman to a debate on this very passage right here on this platform. It's never going to happen because he's going to run. From now on, I want everyone to call him Runnin' Seaman. Run, Seaman, run. Run, Seaman, run.
I want to try to get him on the show. I don't know if he will.
He won't do it.
Yeah, I don't know if he can come on just even by himself.
Him and Amon Hillman together at the same time can come on here and debate me. They won't do it.
That would be great.
They will never do it. They're going to run. Everyone who's watching this right now just witnessed me say, Amon Hillman and Seaman at the very same time can come and debate me on this, and they won't do it. Anyways, go ahead.
I would pay them to make that happen.
I would too. I would donate $500 for that.
I was just making some sleepy time tea in the kitchen, and all I heard was
because
he puts them on Seaman all over his face.
Yeah, because
you're screaming. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
I'm so bothered by the idea that I want Jesus to do this. They're like, Neil wants Jesus to be an old man. Neil, I don't want anything. There's none of my theories matter. I don't care. I don't have any theories. I just want to know what the text says. So, okay, we can go ahead. I just wanted to get that out the way.
Gnostic and the boys, they want him to be like a bearded man. Because if you're 25 years old, back in year 33 AD, you likely have a beard. You got facial hair. So these guys are basically saying that Jesus was with a naked 25-year-old man being guarded by Peter, John, and James, who had swords.
Pause. Okay. Yeah. Why the fact that I want him to be this is it crazy? But second of all, notice how the way he frames that is as if this is true that the Nianiskos is 25, that somehow is bad. Like he's acting like, I can't believe that they're actually gonna think that say that he's 25 years old. Let me just share my screen one really quick, and then we're gonna go back to this. I promise. Yeah. Let me just. Okay, this is Diogenes Laertius. Diogenes Laertius, can you see it?
Yeah, it's up.
So this is a text from, I'm just trying to find the exact date. This is like late 2nd century, right? 3rd century or something like that. And it literally tells us that Pythagoras divides human life as follows. Now notice, this is not the Hippocratic corpus. There's no heptameds. You can't make this apologetic argument that heptamedes is somehow the stages of life. You want to know why? Because if you say that, you're lying about Greek. Want to know why? This word right here, etia, means years. There's no other definition for this word. It is the plural feminine form for the word years. A child is a pais, a kosi, etia. 20 years. Child, 20 years. There's no way other to defend this. There's no other way to translate this. So according to Pythagoras, you were a child up until you turned 20. I don't want this to be the case. I don't care if this is true. I'm just showing you what a primary source says. Pythagoras divided life, child up to 20. Nianiskos, a kosi, 20 years. So 20 to 30, according to Pythagoras, is a Nianiskos. That's just one source, right? So I can keep going. Let me see if I can just do. Where is it? Where'd it go? Oh yeah, okay. So Epictetus, he look at this. Pais, he says a hote pais es, when you were a child, then he describes things what childs do. Then he says hote de merakion, then when you were an adolescent, then he says you do all these stuff. And then hote de Nianiskos, and then when you're a Nianiskos, you get involved in politics. You plead your cases. You blah 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 blah. So there you go. This is another one. The Delos inscription. It's divided between Paidion, Ephebon, then Nianiskos. Here we have another one right here. Merakion, Merox, then Nianiskos. Notice how Nianiskos is always after. Now, is a prepubescent child a third stage of your life? Notice how I'm just showing the ones that don't have numbers in them. Right. But then when we get to the ones that actually have numbers in them, so if I do a word search for 20, you can see that's Delos inscription. Plutarch says it right here. And Nianiscu, as he listened to the voice, free in its openness, though he was 25 years old. I mean, there's a Nianiskos who's 25 years old. Now, can you do me a favor? You just heard Plutarch say that a Nianisko is 25 years old. Can you do me a favor and just go back? Let me just
video.
And then one more real quick. Megasthenes. This is 3rd century BC. He says, and having become 20 years old, those beyond puberty, hoi, exoi, hebes, are called Nianiskoi. Those beyond puberty, 20 years old, are Nianiskos. All right, you just heard me say, you just heard sources that says 25 years old are Nianiskos. That doesn't mean all the sources are saying that. Yes, you're going to find some that can bring them back into 15, but they all say, I'm telling you this with full confidence. If you can prove me wrong, I'm going to update if someone can come with the source that says a Nianiskos is before puberty, I will change I'll do a video of an apology, all that. But just go back to your clip now. Now that we all know what just happened, and go put the video back up and back up 5 seconds. Back up 5 seconds.
Okay,
Old man these guys are basically saying that Jesus was with a naked 25-year-old man being guarded by Peter, John, and James, who had swords.
We don't know.
Why was Jesus
pause
in a park?
This is the last time I'm going to pause. I'll let you play.
Yeah.
Why not? We don't know if he's 25. You're right. It doesn't say he's 25, but he sure as hell can be 25 based on the primary sources. I'm not defending the fairy tale. I'm not saying I know he's 25. I never said that. I'm saying according to the hundreds, I'm not kidding. It used to be dozens, but now me and Stephen have been collecting sources for the last year. We went from dozens to now hundreds. I'm not kidding. In my notes, I have over 100 primary sources that 100% of them have Nianiskos after puberty. Continue.
Yeah. I will say this one thing I think I've noticed is that Neoniskos also, it's not just age, it also seems to imply experience. So that's why it could be used
Yeah.
for someone younger because they're more experienced than their actual age.
Yes, good point.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they always 100% of the time, Pais, then Merakion, then Ephab, then Neoniskos, or sometimes they just Ephab and Merakion are in the same category. Sometimes it goes one Pais, Ephab, Neoniskos, or it can go Pais, Ephab, Merakion, then Neoniskos. But
Yeah, I
never,
think Ephab.
never is Neoniskos before Ephab or before Merakion. 0% of the time. Zero.
Yeah, I think Ephab was specifically for people who were being military trained or civic trained in Athens or Alexandria or
Yeah,
whenever that was.
it's like preteen.
Yeah.
Parked
Anyways,
with a
go ahead.
naked 25-year-old man being guarded by guys with swords. Why is that, guys? So they really can't take that. And the reason why they can't take it, the reason why they fell into this trap of their own, because they literally fell into their own trap, right? They're terrified
The trap of primary
the purple
sources.
hoo-ha story.
The trap of primary sources.
With all that,
Oh,
Jeffrey
notice how he
Epstein-like stuff going on. So they can't take it.
This is so bad that I got to keep pausing. Notice how he said they can't handle the purple hoo-ha story. Can you show me the purple hoo-ha story before we even, you know what? Yeah. Seamen all over your face. You can't handle the story about Jesus going into outer space and meeting aliens. You can't handle it. You just can't handle it. Notice how I just dropped a fake story that didn't happen. I don't have any evidence to back it up, but I'll just say you can't handle it. Therefore, it's true.
So
it's gaslighting, dude.
Well, Billy Carson said Jesus was an alien, so it's true.
Well, so what do you think he was doing in the garden with a young or a 25-year-old or whatever?
I think it's one of the strangest passages in the Bible. I don't necessarily have a strong take on whether there was something cultic ritual. I do know that in Ovid's Metamorphosis, there's a weird passage where Ovid's doing some weird shit with boys before he gets killed. Is it a mimesis of that? I think if Ammon went that route, he would have a better case. But based on the Greek, I just don't know there's enough to say. Number one, he's not a prepubescent child. He's a Neoniskos. So if let's say he's older, and let's go with Ammon's theory that there's something sexual going on. Fine, say that. But be honest about the terms. Be honest about Neonisko. Be honest about Sindone. Is it rich? Is it medicated with drugs? Well, it doesn't say that. So if you want to say that it says that, you're adding stuff to the text that's not there.
Are there other stories with young boys in tombs that are not this story? Like meaning, so it's like this is the strangest passage. But when I look at all the passages, they all look strange. Like
it's just strange, yeah. And like Dennis McDonald might be right. It might be Mimisa.
Lined up, like there's always a boy in the tomb. It's like, okay, that's really weird. It's really weird. He's arrested with a young man, and then the guy flees around naked. That's really weird. It's really weird. He's walking around with a whole bunch of people who have sold all their things and given them to him, and they're afraid of a rainstorm.
Who knows?
That's really weird. It's like if anybody was doing those plot points in any other in your town right now, everyone would be like, "Oh no, Jared Leto can't do that. He can't walk around with." Just a hope that would
it's a weird passage. I'm not sitting there trying to say that the church's version is right. I'm just saying just because the church's version is not good to your standards doesn't make sense. Ammon have like the creative authority to just say whatever he wants about the text. That's all I'm trying to say. And okay, so let's continue.
I have one quick thing. I have an article or a paper from Dennis McDonald called My Turn, and it lays out parts of the Odyssey right next to, I think it's Matthew, and it's literally the same thing. Yeah. It's just Odysseus' name is switched for Jesus.
Yeah, that's why he thinks the scene with the naked kid is a mimesis of the Iliad, where the little kid that runs away, or a Neoniskoi. I'm not saying little. I just slipped, Freudian slip, where a Neoniskoi slips away naked. So go ahead.
I'll play. Yeah.
So the other issue for them, why they can't take it, and I think this is really probably what it is, probably financial, but it's also the fact that these guys all had and still have to some degree, most likely, Christian brain damage syndrome, which is very, very. You should watch these videos.
Pause it.
This is a good one.
That is just the craziest gaslighting of his audience. He notice how he's not coming with data. He's not coming with the primary source to prove me wrong. He's just completely saying he's Christ-brained. Do you guys think I'm a Christian, first of all, at all?
No.
Is that just hilarious to you that I go on these podcasts, I go on Danny Jones, and I talk about how Jesus is probably the story of the Gospels might be ripping off Addis, who died for 3 days, and all that. And I'm sitting here, my entire channel is dedicated to making documentaries, specifically I've promoted Amon Hillman on my channel for 2 years straight. When Amon Hillman, and I think I might have the screenshot still. Amon Hillman had 0 subscribers. I'm the one who told him to do a channel. I'm the one who said, dude, you need to make your own channel. He said, all right, I will. And then he launched his channel. The day he launched his channel, I had him on my channel, and I said, everyone watching, there's like 400 people watching right now on the live stream, go subscribe to Amon Hillman. He had 200 subscribers that night. His first 200 subscribers came from me. So the idea that I'm fucking hiding this shit and I'm suffering from Christian brain, fuck off, dude.
Well, dude, so that's for you guys to duke it out kayfabe style. That's what I say.
We gotta see if he'll come on.
I think that'd be cool. But I do kind of understand like what he's talking about in terms of like how that version of reality like conditions people into we were talking about it earlier, the cognitive dissonance. I don't think that you have that type of cognitive dissonance at all, but
there's certainly other Christians who do, though.
What he's saying in terms of like
people having that still, I get that.
Yeah, like the cognitive frame, like
that's fair to say for like Bart Ehrman
shapes everything
that's
else.
fair to say for like Bart Ehrman or Dan McClellan or Kip Davis.
Gotcha.
Not me. This is a fucking this is pure, utter, nonsensical gaslighting. And he knows it. He knows he's out. It's 4th down and 100 yards to go. He's throwing a fucking Hail Mary at this point. This whole video is just a Hail Mary. Holy shit, I'm following a liar. This is what I think's going on in his head. Holy shit, I've been promoting Amon Hillman, who's a liar, and Neil just proved him wrong. So now I got to come up with something. This is a whole year. How long ago did you and I do this video, Witch Doctor? A year ago?
Yeah.
It took him a year to come up with this. A year. What are you even responding to?
It's been a minute. I think it was.
That might be part of the problem. Is like the timeline of people.
It's at least been 7 months or 8 months.
Yeah.
This is damn near a year ago when you and I did this video, and he's just getting it to it now. He brings watch as we play through this. There's not a single primary source dropped in this video. None.
The timeline might be like mess people's. Like if you just jump into the tail end of all of this stuff. I watched so much of Lady Babylon, so I have obviously have my opinions. I have the ones that I've gone down and checked as hard as I could and whatever else. But when people jump in at the beginning and then they act like they know the whole back and then it's like they just step in bear traps left and right because they don't realize he's got so much of that stuff to watch. So maybe that's happening.
Not only, but just because I think Amon's wrong does not mean I'm defending the church or defending the Bible. That's not. There's aren't the two options here.
And
dichotomous thinking is dangerous. Everything isn't so black and white, right?
Yeah. But you think he's wrong about specific details regarding the age of the kid and details like that.
And like I said, the reason why it matters.
You're saying he's wrong about everything, which I think is what people get confused in their heads too.
And Seaman doesn't realize
he's the enemy.
Seaman doesn't realize why this matters. I don't think Seaman is even aware that Amon Hillman's theory depends on Jesus being with a prepubescent child. He can't be 15 or 30. So when Amon sees this video, I don't know if he already did or not, he's not going to like it. Even though it's bashing me, he doesn't even know he's not helping Amon in this video. He's hurting Amon.
Yeah. Well, so how does that destroy his whole theory that
because the drug can only come from a prepubescent child, according to his only peer-reviewed work.
Okay. So what if he wasn't
right now? I'm going to show it to you.
What if he wasn't a prepubescent child and they were still getting drugs in some kind of P. Diddy way?
then his theory changes. Then he would have to change.
Right.
He would have to go back to his Yos. He'd have to go back to his Yos right and change it.
Yeah.
No, it's not, because then the pederasty thing changes everything. These are adults now.
Yeah.
It changes. It totally rips apart the entire.
When people are saying Almond's either right or wrong, typically on the kayfabe, on the WCW YouTube world, they're not saying what you're saying, which is like, I have a disagreement with this detail and therefore he's wrong on this thing. They're saying, he's wrong about everything and the whole theory falls apart, where it's only really a detail of it that doesn't really fit and everything else fits.
Well, no, it's not just the details.
That one detail makes the whole Jenga tower fall.
Yeah, that's true. If it's not a prepubescent child, then his whole Yos right falls apart. But let's just try to adjust it for him and go, you know what, Amin, you're wrong. It's actually adults too. Well, there's still no primary. I even saw Mandy in the chat going, we use animals to make drugs, so it's not crazy that we use humans. Well, fine. That's a cool theory. It's a cool assertion, but give me a source. Where in Galen does it say we're going to use come from anyone, from any adult or prepubescent child? Show me the money. And otherwise, we're just making shit up at this point.
But you could probably see
have Ali
like
Rowan
a P.
coming on to talk about. Sorry, Chase.
My bad, Doug.
No, I was just gonna say. So I've been looking for that too. The quest for the royal seaman.
Yeah, where is
apparent? Well, there's a passage that Ali was gonna bust open more this Saturday, where she thinks this could. If I didn't mistake how she's put this, she thinks that this could be.
There is in the PGM. There's a lot of like weird rituals involving all types of shit. But like I said, there's not a clear, definitive primary source that. Even if we found one, let's just say the PGM has some weird shit in there, and there's probably one of them that has
barbarites, I think,
extracting semen or something is in there, right? No, I'm saying like extracting semen from someone is in there, right? Does that all of a sudden mean that Mark has to be doing the same thing? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like the idea that so there's so many primary sources out there that say so many things. The idea that I could just pick one and go, Mark's doing this, without Mark actually saying that, is just what are we doing?
It's not there.
It's just not there.
It's not there.
It's connecting dots that don't exist, man. Like
I just don't know what else they'd be doing.
Painting that picture.
Anything
that would be iconic.
Wait, but hold on. Let me just ask you this.
Yeah.
What else would they be doing?
Yeah, the plot points. Yeah.
But getting drugs from his semen though? What?
No,
how is that the only thing we can get from there?
No, I don't know. I don't know about. Yeah, there might be something that it's maybe not directly that ritual, or maybe it is. But I mean, like, so I just want to explain like kind of how my mind works. And this, it might not be the correct way. It's just how I'm looking at it. Like when I show you a picture, if I'm a filmmaker, I show you a forest, then I show you a deer looking up from drinking water, then I show you a hunter aiming a rifle, and then I show the forest again, and there's a gunshot and birds fly off. What do you feel like happened, right? A hunter shot the deer, depending on the expression and how that scene's juxtaposed with the rest of the story is going to start priming you on how to feel and what I'm communicating in that story and all that other stuff. So when I see these plot points lined up, I don't know exactly what's happening, but maybe the age is different, or maybe there's not directly a semen ritual or something, but there does seem to be, just like all these other plot points and these other mystery cult texts, stuff happening that is what Christianity is.
But the mystery cults aren't all using semen for drugs. That's not like a common thing in mystery cults.
What if it wasn't? For me, it wouldn't change much if they were blowing the shit in their face and then like spitting down their mouths. Like it wouldn't change much because they're still doing a crazy drug ritual to get
like Ventura seeds.
Yeah, it could be any kind of ritual. It doesn't have to have semen.
Bother me. Yeah.
Here, let me just show you what his before we even continue. Why? Like, it could be anything. You're right. It's not, but I just think
it's not there.
We gotta be honest about what Mark 14 is actually saying in the Greek. When we take the PGM or some other source and we just go, this happens over here, So I want it to be here. We're no
Right.
longer in the realm of being careful. We're just doing what we want now. We're actually doing the exact thing the church is doing, where they're like, oh, he resurrected him. Well, the text doesn't say he resurrected him. Let me share my screen real quick and we'll go back. I promise.
I got it.
I just want to make sure everyone watching this knows what I mean when I say his theory depends on a prepubescent child. This is from that book, Toxicology and Antiquity, that Ruck and Amen were a part of.
Right.
And Amen never got asked to go back ever again. Ruck has done tons of stuff on these people after this. He only got asked. Amen only was allowed to come here one time because of this. He writes in here, Medea prepared drugs in her vagina and administered her own vaginal excreta and as a communal burning purple of the Yos Rite mystery. By the way, he writes 50. He gives a citation. This is how sneaky he is. He puts a citation 50. And guess what it is? It's just his own explanation. Medea's use of snake venom in Bacchic mystery ritual was the subject of much Seneca's Medea. If you actually track this down, which I did, there's no burning purple in here. It doesn't even say she had drugs in her vagina anywhere. None of that exists. This is all made up. The next one he says the burning purple, a mixture of Medea's vaginal excreta combined with ritual drugs. I swear to God, anyone watching this right now, I will pay you $500 to find me a primary source where it says Medea excretes a vaginal drug called burning purple. I'll give you $500 if you can find that.
Can we look up that goblet that I mentioned? Was there vaginal juices in the goblet?
Hold on a second. Let me just finish this and then we'll do it. Then he cites burning purple, Karl Ruck, page 381 FF from the book Samothracian Gods. I tracked that down. Nothing about burning purple in there. The word burning purple doesn't even exist in the book at all. He just makes up a fake citation. Continuing as we go, this is where it really matters the most. Medea's Yos contained the famous purple, porphyra, a textile made up again. And this doesn't exist in any primary sources. I'm trying to get to the part where he talks about the children. Let's see if I can. Here we go. This command to abstain from sexual idolatry by the followers of Jesus and the way would have necessitated the use of alternative source of antidote for any Yos Rite participant. The only source for such an antidote was this semen or milk of a pre-pubertal boy. There it is. And if Jesus and the apostles were following, notice how he says, if Jesus and the apostles were following the echidnaic Yos Rite, Jesus as savior would have had to derive his antidote by performance of a sexual act on a 9 to 12-year-old boy. The Gospel of Mark records that Jesus was arrested in a public cemetery after midnight in the company of an anonymous male naked child. He gives a citation of 79 and he just says Mark 14. So his only shot at getting peer reviewed for this he just completely made everything up. So now when we go back to this is what I mean. This is why I'm so persistent on the age thing, because he's making this claim that the antidote to the toxic, to the whatever's going on, whatever antidote he's talking about, has to be from a child between 9 to 12. That's his claim. We can fix his people. I see this all the time. Mandy Morehall does this. They want to fix his theories for him, but he's not doing that. So why whatever we want to, we can take his and build upon it, fine, but that's your own theory now. Like, you know what I mean? If you want to say, oh wait, fine, it's not, notice you'll see in the video, Seaman Oliver's face will say it's 15 to 30. he'll say it's 15 to 30. So what? Why is Jason with the 15? Well, if Amen watches your video, Seaman, he's gonna stop putting semen on your face. He's not gonna like you anymore. Because you're debunking his own theory. You just literally debunked Amen Hillman in this video and didn't even realize it. That's why I was so blown away by it. I don't know if you want to continue or not, but you had something to say, right?
No. The goblet thing I was interested in. If they found some kind of vaginal.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got it here. Hold on.
Okay, let's take a look at it.
You get it, Marcel. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Here we go. I've got it here.
It's the one where it's in her stash. That's what it says.
No, it's this cup of best that he's talking about. Let me get it up here.
Okay.
I've got to remove this and then add
Yeah, and it is difficult because there's just so much lost, I guess. So it is like, if we want to find more sources, where are they? Well, I don't know if they've been burned or they're hiding in somebody's vault.
That's definitely true. We lost 98% of all of our sources from antiquity.
Yeah.
But then you also can't use that as like a pass to just say, well, whatever theory I decide to be true is all of a sudden true now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I was just it's like,
look at this. I just want to real quick. Can I share my screen? Oh, go ahead. I want to after this. I'll show you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is the cup he's talking about. It's an Egyptian. It's the cup of Bes. It was found in Egypt, and it contains like proteins from vaginal mucus and possibly breast milk.
That's the
and other bodily fluids and such like that.
A chemist from the University of Italy. That ingredients from the proteins from blood, vaginal mucus, and possibly breast milk were identified. These fluids may have held symbolic or ritual emphasizing themes of life, fertility, and regeneration. The inclusion of human fluids. Yeah, so we have sources that say this stuff. Remember how we talked about the questions of Mary, and I did a whole documentary on this.
Yeah,
the text tells us that this is happening, though. This is what I mean. So when we look at the questions of greater questions of Mary, let's pull this up.
I see what you're saying. And then what I'm saying from when I explain the plot point of the deer in the forest is it's hard for me to see it in that context that we just saw, and then to see the plot points in this other point and act like those exact plot points are different, right? And that they're just, we don't know exactly what's going on.
There's a similar pattern. There's a similar pattern.
Let me share my screen.
I'm not saying I know exactly.
Did you put it up yet?
Yeah, right here.
I don't see it.
So I got it. This is another source. It's about Jesus too. So, okay. The thing that I want people to take home today is I just want people to see I'm open to this being all your theories. I'm open because we have a text from Epiphanius who says that Jesus, Apollonion, shared his semen with her. And this was apparently a Eucharist. He says it right here. Eat my flesh and drink my blood. And they claim this was fellatio was the logos. So I know that this stuff exists. The problem is Mark 14 isn't necessarily doing the same thing here. If you want to posit that Mark 14 is secretly doing the same thing as Epiphanius, fine. But you just don't have, I don't know how to explain this.
It's a lot. Yeah, I think it's a lot. You gotta.
You get what I'm saying, right? Like I care about
it's a stretch. It's a stretch, right?
All I give a shit about is if the text says what you say it says.
Copy. Yeah.
And that's it. And like, look, against the Borborites, does this go back to an original first century ritual? Maybe it does.
I'd be interested in the connections of like, it makes sense with the oracle cults. It makes sense that like, if there was like these drug rituals or something and someone got pregnant and they were taking like abortive measures, they'd be like, well, that must be a son of God that survived that gambit of drugs and stuff. It makes sense that they would understand what someone was ingesting while they were breastfeeding would be given to the kid, and they might try to make superhumans and stuff.
One more thing.
I'm interested in the eunuch connection, like when they started doing that to young men, what was the whole point of making eunuchs, other than it makes sense that they might want to use that like form of their physiology for something? Maybe not, I don't know. But what's the other explanation that they would just start castrating these young boys? I mean, I guess
and I've yet to see any
for higher singing voices or some crap. I don't know.
I've yet to see any sources where they extract drugs from them, but I do know they do they actually do make eunuchs. So like they call them that, for example.
And none of us think about doing that today. That doesn't sound like a good idea, does it?
Right. Let me share my screen one more time before we continue. I just want to show one more thing, because this is the I just want people to see this. This is the crazy part. This is the source that Amen cited. This is the source that Amen cited for Medea's vaginal purple. You can do a word. Look, I'm doing a word search for purple. The word purple does not show up anytime in Euripides' Trojan Women. Vagina? None. Now, okay, let's do purple porphyra, right?
Porphyra, yeah.
So let's do. I mean,
he would just argue that it's the Orphic Vox, which isn't real either. Like
Porphyra. So let's do that.
Well, I mean, the deer in the forest is another way of saying Orphic Vox, more so. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he literally cited. He gave a citation.
Gotcha.
Burning purple vagina is in Trojan women, and I just did a word search. Porphyra, all that. It's not in that word does not show up in this. Okay, so you can go back to the source now or to the video.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I was just checking on the baby and the wife.
And this is a good one too, because I mean, I could have put all these guys up here. I mean, these guys are the clown. The clown world of Christianity is unbelievable. And if you look at it carefully, they really do have a functional brain damage syndrome situation. And that is the case for these guys too. And that's really weird, right? Because these guys can handle the fact that Elephantine is a real deal. And this means that Gnostic myth carrier, all their buddies, and Hillman, and Gad Barnea, and Jonathan Adler, and all these guys that they've had on, anyway, all these guys that they had on, all agree that nothing existed before 300 BC.
That's not
Kip Run told Danny Jones, what was written before 300 BC for Hebrew? Not a ton.
That's not what anyone says. That's not what anyone says, that nothing existed before 300 BC. We say that the current Bible, the Torah, if you will, was in the form that we have it, does not exist before 300 BC. That doesn't mean that Yahweh wasn't worshipped or that Hebrew didn't exist. There's still Hebrew inscriptions all over the place. We find them all. We find inscriptions that are Hebrew all over the place, all the way back to the 9th century BCE. Mm-hmm. They take this thing that Gad Barnea says on my channel and they use it, they distort it, and they run with it. And they hide behind good scholarship and then say horrible, unfounded shit that doesn't make any sense. That's not what anyone says. But it's true that the Bible, probably the stories that we get about Moses and Abraham and Noah and all that stuff, seems to be Hellenistic. And that doesn't mean like Homer, for example. Homer shows up around the 9th century BCE, but there's probably some layers of Homer that go back to the Bronze Age. We just don't know it. We just can't find it. We lost it. The Bible is the same thing for the 3rd century. There are layers of the Bible that probably predate the 3rd century. We just don't know which parts it is. It's a guessing game. Anyways, he doesn't know what he's talking about, but let's continue. That's a little side note.
Which is, of course, a non-scholar answer. It should be virtually nothing. And that's the truth.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
So it looks like this Bible was written at the same time, whether it be Hebrew first, Greek first, doesn't make any difference. And that doesn't make any difference either, because if it's fake, who gives a shit?
That's guess who does care? Pause it. Guess who does care about that? Amon Hillman. I said the same thing. If it's Hebrew first, if it's Greek first, who gives a shit? They both are written around the same time. This is what's so crazy about this video. This entire video, he keeps repeating what I think. He keeps debunking Amon, but he keeps calling me Christ brain, moron, idiot. Why aren't you calling Amon Hillman a Christ brain, moron, idiot? Like, seriously. Amon Hillman's the only person who cares that the Greek has to be first. Do you ever hear me? Do you ever hear me or Derek saying that the Hebrew has to be first? And if you don't think so, I've been very upfront that parts of Daniel, the Greek looks like it came first. There are some parts of Proverbs, the Greek looks like the book of Sirach, Greek came first. Maccabees, Greek came first. I'm very nuanced when it comes to this shit. But Psalms, Genesis, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Numbers, that looks like the Hebrew came first. Now, is it because I want the Hebrew to win? No. But what's so ironic about this statement with he has me and Derek and Carrier on here calling us idiots and Christ brain, and he's literally debunking Amon Hillman because Amon Hillman's the only person who cares that the Greek came first. So what the fuck are you even talking about? Why are you even bringing this up right now? Right. It's so bizarre. Go back 5 seconds. Just hear what he said again.
To be fair, Seaman doesn't really buy into everything Amon says, but
which was so bizarre to me. Why even make this video then?
So it looks.
Are you good? Are we good?
Yeah.
It's like this Bible was written at the same time, whether it be Hebrew first, Greek first, doesn't make any difference. And that doesn't make any difference either, because if it's fake, who gives a shit?
Exactly.
That's the other thing these guys cannot seem to handle. So regarding the current issue.
Pause it real quick.
Only Hillman.
That's what these guys can't handle. There's only one person who can't handle this. Amon Hillman.
He is going after you. Oh man.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
I mean, he eventually tries to take you out of it, but
no, just watch how bad this is. Go ahead.
Yeah. Have you seen all of it yet? Yes.
Yeah.
Is saying, there's some evil Pinocchio Jesus action taking place. And these other guys can only look at the Bible if Jesus is the excellent, innocent Pinocchio. So the guys, besides Hillman, they know Jesus was a fake God, but they want Jesus to be a fake good guy God.
Pause it.
They hate the...
Have you guys ever heard me say Jesus was a good guy?
No.
Yeah. Ever.
Never. Yeah.
Once on my channel.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm sitting here talking about Revelation, where he talks about how he's going to come back and kill everybody, and how I was just on what's Julian Dory's podcast a few months ago, telling Julian Dory that I can't believe that Jesus told his followers they had to leave their families, that if they don't follow him and hate their family, they are not going to make the kingdom of heaven. I said, I can't believe that this message got out there. I just told somebody recently about Jesus calling the women, calling them dogs, and he's using a female term, which is the word for bitch. This is all you hear from me all the time. I talk about questions of Mary all the time on my channel, how Jesus took Mary up on a mountain and made her drink semen. If Amon was right, I would be pushing Amon Hillman's theories. I just don't think he's right. So don't sit there and say that I want Jesus to be a good guy. You're a fucking liar, and you know it. Either you're a liar or you're really stupid. Probably both.
Yeah.
The idea of what Hillman says. So their position is Jesus was not a fake bad guy God, like Hillman says.
What is this dichotomy?
So the only difference between these guys are the clowns that argue with Hillman.
Notice how the clowns, these are clowns.
Guy, God, Jesus story.
Get the semen off your face, bro. Get the
really
semen
stunning,
off your face.
Really stunning. And it's the case for all these guys. This is the real issue right here. Here, they're talking about the naked dude, right? Suggesting not just molestation, but a more sinister ritual taking place where the Neonisco had his hoo-ha wrapped with a medicated purple bandage. And that's the real issue for these guys. They fear the purple penis.
Pause it. Fear the purple penis.
That's the name of my new band.
If you can show me the purple penis, maybe I'll be afraid of it. But until then, you've just made up a thing that doesn't exist. There is not a single fucking source that talks about purple penis.
I wonder if clarifying the disagreements would be more helpful, because that's what I think. I understand where he's coming from, where he thinks again, it's the wrestling.
He's calling me a clown.
You're the Iranian with the American.
I've never said a word about this guy. I've never said a word about this guy in my life. He's calling me a clown. He's calling me a liar. He's saying I don't know what I'm talking about. He said I'm lying to Lady. He said I'm lying to Witch Doctor. So fuck this guy. I'm just gonna go right.
Oh yeah, no, I get your anger towards him. I'm just saying the context of he's it's when it's well, Almond is wrong is put onto the side of Almond is wrong about everything, right? As opposed to you probably agree with him on most things, it sounds like, but the way it's culture warred out is either he's doing the Pinocchio thing, I think, because
but I would anyone who I think is lying, I'm going to call them out. Whether even if I agree, I did the same thing with Richard Carrier. I agree with Richard Carrier on so much shit.
Oh yeah,
I thought he was. I called him out for lying about Jesus. He was going around to these atheist conventions telling people that Philo of Alexandria, this is what he told people at 10 different atheist conventions. I saw all the videos from all these conventions. He repeated himself like it was a script. He said, Philo of Alexandria in the 20s AD, before the Gospels, was going around saying that there was an angel named Jesus who was the Logos, firstborn son of God, blah, 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 blah. It was a made up story. And I called him out for it. The same way I called out Richard Carrier for lying, I'm calling out Amon Hillman for lying. That's it. I'm just being consistent with what I do.
I think if we saw some of these Bible scholars just go, yeah, looks like there's drugs everywhere, and then they started like wiggling through the implications of that, it'd be like a different scenario. But the dynamic is literally like, no, there was no drugs in antiquity. Jesus never involved anything like this. He was just a cool guy hanging out. And then the other side is like, he's
the other side is like, no, not only is drugs everywhere. Yeah, the other side's going, not only are drugs everywhere, but it's also in every single passage in the New Testament. It's like, come on.
There seems to be a lot of it, though. But
there needs to be some nuance here.
But it would be really awesome to have everybody come together on that umbrella of there's definitely drugs in antiquity. They were definitely doing rituals and stuff like that. Now, that's where I've been all of this and try to figure out exactly what it's doing. But like, well, I mean, maybe that would help with like I'm particular. You said you're making a video where you're like, hey, this is the stuff I.
But if you're gonna say that, if you're gonna say I fear the purple penis, show me the purple penis.
Yeah.
Don't just say you don't accept it because you fear it. You have to show it to me first before I can accept it or discredit it. You can't just keep making shit up as you go along. Show me a single primary source where Jesus has a purple penis, and then we can talk about it.
For sure.
Go ahead. Yeah. Play
these boys to run. They only want,
even though he's running right now,
they don't want any purple penis action at all. Now, whether the penis was purple or not, the fact is that there was a penis that was unwrapped. No matter if the guy was 12 or 20, and that should be the issue. But they can't take it, and now they can Gnostic. Or I guess Gnostic could before.
I guess Gnostic could handle it. Well, here's the funny part about that: is anyone denying that Mark 14 exists? Everyone knows that there's a Neoniskos that runs away naked. Just to notice how he called us clowns for fearing the purple penis, and then he sort of sidesteps and goes, whether it's purple or not, there's still a naked, even if he's over 12, whether it's purple or not, there's still a naked Neoniskos running away. No shit. Everyone knows that. No one's saying that doesn't exist. But you just went from purple prepubescent boy, which is in Alman Hillman's book. You just went from that being the case to going, maybe he's wrong, but you're still a clown either way. Like, notice how I'm a clown no matter what. I'm a clown if I'm right. I'm a clown if I'm wrong. Alman Hillman? No, he can't be a clown. Put your semen on my face. That's what he's basically saying. It's so pathetic. I hate these little fucking groveling losers, dude. They're like, they get emotional about people being mean to Amen, or people are nice to Amen. They love it. Like, you guys are groveling little weirdos, dude. It's weird. It's like a fucking Twilight Zone episode.
It's very, like for lack of a better word, it's totally cultish. But
yes,
yeah, it's very cultish, man. Even if Amen doesn't want to make a cult, his followers are totally cultish.
Oh yeah, like we use that term cultish, maybe by a lack of a better term. I'm not saying that they're a cult, but
I'm not trying to say that either.
Some of these, and I'm not saying they're all like this. Like no one on this panel is, obviously, but he's, the way he's like groveling over him is like, even if he's wrong, you're still a clown for even. It's like, I don't even know the point of this video. That's basically what I'm getting at. This part is where it gets crazy. This is the part that I wasn't even going to respond until this part right here.
Okay. Yeah.
He rejoined the brothel. So this is Gnostic misinforming witch doctor. So look what he says here. He focuses. This is his big thing.
This is my big thing, see? Right? Notice how he can't play the clip.
Is saying, look, the naked man with the beard was 28 years old. Does Gnostic realize that he said that? He probably doesn't.
Let's press pause. I pause it. Okay. First of all, I didn't rejoin the brothel. Amen stopped talking to me. I didn't stab him in the back like people keep putting in my comments. You stabbed Amen Hillman in the back. He stopped talking to me because I'm not a groveling semen lover like this guy is. That's the reason. Seriously, he stopped talking to me because I didn't agree with his theories. I don't know, however you want to chop that up, go ahead. Those are the facts. I didn't join anything. I didn't stab anybody. He stopped talking to me simply because I did not agree with what he was saying. Now, he just made a claim that I just decided to tell Witch Doctor that the naked kid in Mark 14 was 28 years old. Let me just play what I actually said real quick. Ready?
Oh, you have it? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll remove this and bring.
Yes. Because I just want to show people how much of a sophist liar he is. Here's what I actually said. Laertius gives a list. He doesn't say one is a child, one is a young man. He literally tells you there's numbers in the work. Numbers. He gives you the numbers. That's what he says. He says a pais is a child for 20 years. And then he says Niskos is 20. Okay. And then look at this one. Epictetus says, first he says a pais, where when you were a child, you did this. And then he goes, when you were an adolescent, merakion. And then the third category was when you were at Niskos, you were involved in politics, pleading cases yourself, and earning a good reputation. I'm sorry, but that's not a child. And then was one more big one.
Be like a later teen.
Oh, Delos inscription. We saw this one already. And then it gets more big one. Here's the one. This is from Ammon should know this. This is from the Hippocratic Corpus. This is medical text. This is Ammon's domain. Bro, aren't you reading your own sources? Look what it says. Look what it says in here. This is from 5th century BCE. Just as in nature. By the way, Ammon Hillman was criticizing me for dating this to the 5th century BCE because it was written in 3rd century BCE. But then later on, someone sent me a clip of him citing the Hippocratic Corpus as from Hippocrates himself and going, who cares? It's all the same. Wait, you just criticize? Okay, that's a whole other topic. But anyways, I'm overflowing with like nonsense with this stuff. Anyways, here's what I actually said. Here, human nature. There are 7 periods which we call ages. Paidion, Pais, Merakion, then Niskos. And then then he tells you the ages. He says a Paidion is an infant. Okay, real quick. And notice how it says years. It says right here where it uses the term years. 7 eton. See next to that number 7? Here, let me put my mouse on it. Right here. Eton, that means years. So when Ammon did a rebuttal to this, he was trying to do this sophistry thing where he says this isn't about years. This is about what did he say? Stages of puberty, he said. So he tried to make this sophist argument that all of these are all puberty and that they're all like 7 months long or something. He lied to you guys. He lied to his whole audience that day because the word years is eton. You cannot translate eton as anything else but years. So he's saying, and so the reason why I'm playing this clip right now is because if you listen to what I said, he said that I told Witch Doctor that Mark 14 had a 28-year-old kid. But this is what I actually do say. Okay, then he tells you the ages. He says a paidion is an infant that lasts until 7 years. He then says a pais is a child that lasts until the beginning of puberty. Then he says a merakion lasts until 21. And then he says Niskos is a youth that's in their 20s, basically. That's what he says. I didn't even say the word 28 out of my mouth. I didn't even say 28. I said in their 20s. And I didn't even say Mark 14. All I did was show Witch Doctor primary sources, and I reflected them correctly. Just listen to how he spins this. Go back to the clip now. He's a liar. He's a liar. And just go back 5 seconds if you can.
No, I have the right one, yes.
So Gnostic is saying, look, the naked man with the beard was 28 years old.
Did I say that?
Does Gnostic realize that he said that?
No, I didn't realize that I said that because you just lied.
And the reason why he doesn't is because, I think it has to do with the whole, what I just described, the whole Christian brain damage syndrome to varying degrees. Plus,
I'm a Christian.
Whatever.
That's what it is.
How the fuck do I know?
But
this is what this these guys cannot take.
Look, how do I know? I don't know why he's telling the truth and I'm lying. He just must be a Christian. Let me just gaslight you guys. It's full of shit. And then look at he puts on the screen a painting from 1522. Like this fucking painting from 1522 where a kid looks pretty young. That debunks the primary sources from antiquity. This is what we're doing now. This is the state we're in. This is the YouTube academic world now, where we pick paintings that look cool and say this is going to trump all of the primary sources.
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I making sense?
Yeah,
No, it's perfect.
I get that on that level. The one thing that I notice is like there's one direction that's being provoked where it's revealing new stuff and making stuff make a whole lot more sense, and it's coming from like all the doorways that Amen has kicked open. And I know it's not that people haven't done it in the past, but it's clearly been done the way it has now, not in a way we've seen it before. And so like the opposing like force is not contributive, is not absorbing the new doors that are being opened and then walking through them and trying to find new stuff, which you are technically doing, I think, for me anyway, right now, where you're like, well, I don't know what the age was, and this is what the text was, and whatever else. Instead, it's just lampooning Amen like he's a total insane person, not making any sense. And all these Bible scholars that have been completely wrong, have not taken any kind of accountability for any of it and reintegrated it in the way that they think and view things. And so maybe that, and then, you know, I know you guys had a personal dispute. It sucks because, you know, you guys were like great together, for me anyway. But I mean, that would suck too, I imagine, like on a kind of a friend level. And maybe it just, I don't know him, but maybe it was like, oh, well, they don't got my back now. So it's just like, I guess it's just me against the world, like showing them that they're completely wrong about their whole faith. And then they get these hodgepodge posting things, which we're kind of doing, which is like, well, look at this painting. This is weird that it would be like this, but they say it all means this. And it seems to align with all the other things, like all the pieces are coming into place.
Yeah, but why would a painting from the 1500s have more insight than what we have right now?
Well,
I mean, they don't have like I know for a fact
because it pierces the fairy tale, like how we viewed all of Christianity, the history based on what the Bible scholars have told us in a
but there's paintings of Apollo and Dionysus that look like that, look like little young, very youthful. That's just how they paint the stuff. I just don't know why that would somehow. This painting is
No, I don't think
somehow
this is like
more
a nailed coffin.
Yeah,
or anything. No,
it's just like the way he's showing this painting is going. Neil showing primary sources. He's a liar because of this painting from 1522.
Yeah.
It's just
calling people liars is like
it's just crazy to me. Yeah,
it creates fighting language for sure.
Yeah. Anyways, let's see what he says next.
Okay.
That he was young in the Epstein young kind of thing. So they just have to run. They run. Oh, so Carrier also said, you can see, so Gnostic, 28 years of age. Here we are.
That's not what I said. I didn't say 20.
Indeed, Neoniskos.
Never, ever did I say he was 28 years old. Ever. He lied about that. And in fact, if you watch the video between me and Witch Doctor, we both concluded that the range of, remember, you're here, thank God. Mm-hmm. What did I say Neoniskos was in our video?
You said it would be like 21, like the third group of 7.
That's one of the sources that I showed. But what was my overall like range?
Oh, it goes up all the way to 40 by Strong's definition.
No. I didn't say that far. I never went that far. 30. Yeah, I said 15 to 30. You don't remember I said 50? Remember we both were like 15 to 30 sounds about right.
Yeah, I do.
It's in your video.
I've had so many conversations lately that
in our video, I specifically said that the primary sources, most of them, 90% of them, put Neoniskos in between 21 and 30. There are a few that bring it down to 15, that go 5 years before 20.
Right.
So I said 15 to 30 is the Neoniskos category. That's what it should be. Never did I say it's 28 years old or that Mark's child is 28. It can be 28 according to the sources, but notice how he moves the goalpost on me. First of all, he lies about what I said. I never said the word 28 never even came out of my mouth. I said 20s, and that was only one of the primary sources that I was showing.
Right.
Never did I say 28.
There was a lot of examples of
I gave a lot of examples where it says 21 to 30 because I'm trying to show you guys these ancients thought Neoniskos were in their 20s.
Right.
But now he's showing Richard Carrier say roughly between 15 and 30, as if that debunks me. It only debunks Amon Hillman. Right. I've always said 15 to 30. You can go back and look at every video I've ever said. I've always said Neoniskos is 15 to 30. Every single time I've said this. The only thing that I was very clear on is it's after puberty. After puberty. 15 is after puberty.
That's kind of what I've been saying as a general.
Amon Hillman is the only person who specifically needs it to be before puberty. So what's so ironic about this video, it's got Seaman, who's got Amon Seaman all over his face, is debunking only Amon. First, he debunks him on, well, who cares if it's Hebrew or Greek first? Who cares? It's all a fairy tale. That's what I've been saying. Well, who cares what age it is? We just know it's after puberty. That's what I've been saying. And you're sitting there doing a video about me being a clown as you're literally debunking your daddy, Amon. As you're wiping off his semen, you're debunking him. It's like, this is fucking crazy to me. So I just think it's funny. You're literally calling me a clown and a liar while you're showing if you look at the comments of this video. Can you do that for real quick?
Oh yeah.
Go to the comments.
I commented.
Nice. I just want you to
Okay.
Just go to the comments real quick. All right, go to there's mine. Read more. And look at I don't think he realizes what's going on here. I don't think he has the awareness to know what he's doing. I go, oh my God, you just showed a Brill article. This is going to happen later. This comes up soon. Some scholars say Neoniskos or ephebes are related to puberty. Then read the Greek word ephebe as Neoniskos. Then it showed 16 to 30. It literally aligns with the primary sources I provided. So I'm literally going, yes, dude, this is what I'm saying. And I wrote, you either don't know basic Greek or you try to pull a fast one on it, because the whole idea that I'm a clown or I'm lying when you're showing the sources that I've been saying is so crazy to me.
Do you think the confusion also comes from like different? So if you're like on an interview with Cross Bible or other people, I don't watch a lot of stuff now, and you're talking to other people who just don't think there are drugs in antiquity at all, that just think that the Christian fairy tale is the correct way, and then post talk and just constantly reinforce that because that seems to be how you can be viewed, that they're throwing you in a basket wherein you don't really fit in that basket.
Well, then he's doing his wrong. He's not doing his it's on him, because you can go to my channel and see my videos and see what I'm about. But I think he knows this. But I think he's gaslighting his audience here. I think he's mad that I'm right, and he's mad that he's been following a liar, and he just doesn't know how to cope. He's coping right now.
Yeah, that could be a part of it.
Well,
okay, I'll play.
Neoniskos routinely referred to men of military age.
That's what I said. By the way,
the Neoniskos was sunakaluthē. That's what it says in the original Mark. And sunakaluthē is a military regimented language. So no matter the age of the Neonisko, he was following Jesus in a attending, serving, military regimented fashion. So now Carrier says, military age, this is well settled in the scholarship.
It is.
See, this is like a spell word for these guys. Scholarship is the spell word for these fake Bible scholars because it makes them feel good about themselves.
Well, he said was correct.
Here it is. You can see Neoniskos. This is right. You can link to it right from.
This is so funny to me. This is so crazy.
Website, or his blog I just showed you. Okay, so
look
here's
at this.
The age.
Pause it.
And so
some scholars equate Neoniskos with ephebos, a term that is generally thought to have been applicable when a male turned 18. What the fuck? How is this debunking me? How is this helping Amon Hillman? Some discuss evidence that its use spanned ephebos and neos. As a result, possible pertinent ages range between 16 to 30. What's going on right now? Look at this. However, many think that the term is used more precisely to refer to a young man post-ephebos, and thus a man in his 20s. 20s, not pre-puberty. They persuasively argue, and this is true, whoever wrote this, because the primary sources all say this. They persuasively argue that in some contexts it's used as a synonymous with neos as to designate a man 20 to 29. 20 to 20 fucking 9. I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind because this is so simple. There's a liar out there lying to you guys, and then there's the facts. It's so simple. One of them saying 1 + 1 is 5, and the other one saying 1 + 1 is 2. Plato ascribes the term to Agathon, who at the time was, look at this, between 25 and 30.
Yeah.
He just laughed at me for saying 28, which I didn't even say. But
I
even
look at it like you're someone saying the answer is like 1, and the other person saying the answer is 1.2. But then there's this other faction that is telling us that actually it equals Jesus.
I see what you're saying.
So like you're like
but Amon's not close to the truth though. Yeah. Amon's not being close to. He's not being honest, man.
Yeah, I have an example for later. I have an example after we get through this video.
All right, let's get through it then.
It's always my bedtime.
Some scholars equate it to Neoniskos to what? To puberty. So they're equating. Some scholars equate Neoniskos to puberty.
Look at the sophistry here.
30, 2029, 2530. Jesus was therefore with a bearded man, a naked bearded man, while he was being guarded by 3 younger teenagers. Maybe Peter was 20.
What is going on right now?
So why was Jesus being guarded by sordid Neoniskos while he was with an older, naked Neoniskos with a beard? See, that's what these guys don't realize. The corner that they put themselves into.
Pause that.
Because of their lack.
What corner are we talking about here? What corner? Can anybody explain what corner I just put myself in here? For correctly pointing out the definition of a Neoniskos, that somehow, look at, he even circles between 20 and 25. And then his response was, these guys want you to think that he was with a bearded man. Does it say bearded man? No.
No.
Does it say he had a smooth face? No. We have no fucking idea what he looked like. All we know was that he was a Neoniskos and he ran away naked. That's all we fucking know. Is that so hard to admit? Do we have to pretend that it's all this extra shit that we don't know about? Really? Seriously? Go ahead, hit play.
Yeah.
Lack of proper training is probably the best way.
Proper training. Oh, where's your training
so
at?
Run, Kip, Run.
Pause it. Where's
that.
your fucking training at? Show me where your fucking training is at. Let's have a Greek X off. Let's have him on here. Let's see who can translate Greek faster. I'll let Witch Doctor choose any passage from Homer he wants. Give us both the passage from Homer. Let's see who can translate it faster. We both get 1 sentence each. Let's see who can fucking go. Let's see his fucking training in action. This guy's a fucking liar, dude. And it makes sense that he would follow another liar. And he calls Kip, but he's the one running from a debate from me. So he's a hypocrite too. Not only is he a liar, but he's a hypocrite. The worst kind of liar. Go ahead.
He's sort of basically going here about how Jesus is sort of like, hey, what are you arresting me for? He's taking the position of a believer here. Because Run, Kip, Run still has his Christian brain damage syndrome in there. Meaning he can only handle Jesus being the good guy God. Poor Run, Kip, Run cannot handle Jesus being a bad Pinocchio God in certain respects. Because it just kills his mojo. And they have to answer a lot more questions.
Pause.
And they don't want to do that because they...
Whose mojo is getting killed by being wrong here? Is it me who's open to every single theory under the planet, who I interviewed 200 scholars with different theories, and I don't even have any dogma or dog in the fight, pun intended? Is it me? Do I care if Amon's right, or if Dennis McDonald's right, or if Morton Smith is right? Do you see me on team Morton Smith? Or who's the one who has the dogma here, whose mojo gets beat if they're wrong?
Yeah.
Just something to think about. Go ahead.
They lack skills. So neither one of these guys can handle the fact that the kid I mean,
here he goes with the painting
this
again.
was since 1500.
Yeah.
And Run Kip Run hallucinated this to be a burial shroud in this video.
Pause.
Mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling. Let's see. Let's do this real quick. Sindone. Let's do a he loves Perseus stuff, doesn't he?
Yes.
Let's do Sindone.
Yeah.
Look at this. Ready? Here, I'm gonna share my screen.
Yeah.
He said it was a burial shroud. Mind-boggling. Mind-boggling, right? Fine cloth, right? Fine cloth. Anything made of such cloth, garnet of livid, used for mummies.
And I think those words before it are mean that. Like the Greek right before used for mummies means is the words for the strips that are used for mummies. The bubusin telemunis?
Yeah. It could be a cloth or sheet, winding sheet, sheets. And then you have one that says surgeon's bandages. But if you actually read the source, if you actually go to Herodotus and read that's the surgeon's bandage one. I'm sorry, this is from yes, Herodotus. Wait, this one right here? Yes, if you actually go to the Herodotus passage, you can see the context where he mentions the surgeon. So there's the reason why it's entered as surgeon's bandages is because if I may, because this is the thing, they don't know how to. Ammon knows better, but Seaman does not know how to use Perseus Tufts. Perseus Tufts is not a place where you go and select your favorite.
No,
one.
and
the context matters.
In order if they appear too. Yeah.
So here's what it says. It says so the source here is, let me just pull this up.
Both citations are Herodotus, he says.
It's ID 718. Why is it coming up as Herodotus? Oh, here it is. So it says Herodotus's source says that the ship was Tyrique, was Pythes the son of Aeschines, boarded it up. When the ship was taken, he resisted fighting until he was cut to pieces. When he fell, he was not dead, only breathing. The Persians who were boarding the ships made his valor the great concern. He treated his wounds with myrrh and bound them with bands of fine linen. When they had gone back to their own camp, they showed him with admiration. So it tells you that he's on a ship and they're treating his wounds with myrrh. They're applying myrrh onto the wound and putting it on the sindone. So when it says surgeon's bandages, what matters is the context. It matters when you read the source of Herodotus, you can see that they're using it for a bandage. You do not get to use that context anywhere else unless it tells you that. So in Mark, when it says a sindone fell off, we don't know if it's a bandage, if it's medicated, if it has drugs on it. We don't know that because it doesn't tell us.
Yeah, there's no context.
Okay. So just wanted to show you that. Go ahead.
Are there contexts of other similar stories with other mystery rites though? Like I don't know. I'm asking this for real. Like meaning like so we don't have context within this Bible story, but are those plot points set up in other mystery rite religions where they're using a young man in some kind of way? Maybe not to do the whole Seamen they're explaining, but
PGM.
So
PGM,
that it would be bizarre to me that all the plot points that are almost exactly the same are unrelated to that type of event, and someone just invented those plot points to evoke something else that doesn't make any sense. Like
but why would you assume context from another text applies to another text without actually saying? I mean, it's like
we assume that Dionysus was influencing the Jesus story. We assume a lot of things about like how things are absorbed and taken in.
Right.
I'm not saying it's exactly right. I'm just saying the echoes.
But you have to show that though. So for the case of Dionysus, he's the son of God. He enters the world through a mortal mother. Jesus as a son of God who enters the world from a mortal mother. You can see that. You don't have to I don't have to, if it didn't say Jesus had a mortal mother, I wouldn't go, well, Dionysus had a mortal mother, so now Jesus has a mortal mother. Yeah. I wouldn't say that.
Were there other
it's in the text.
Were there other like figures that had young men in some kind of sexually ritualistic way? Like didn't Zeus have a boy?
Yeah.
Did Morpheus have a boy?
Yeah, but like I said, why would that all of a sudden mean that Jesus has to have the same thing?
No, yeah, I'm just saying the patterns echo in one direction, and then on the other direction, there's no echo. It's just kind of like how Hebrew is, like where they say we came up with this whole invention of how everything works over here, and yet it's echoed from all these other cultures, yet they don't.
Right, but let's go with Zeus. Let's go with Zeus and Ganymede. Zeus has Ganymede as a cupbearer.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot of sources about Ganymede and all this stuff. Where is it all the, where in the Gospels does where do you see the idea that Jesus has a cupbearer like Ganymede?
Well, let's just
he's got the disciple who he loved, right? Maybe you want to go with that. Okay.
Well, I don't know. I'm just like the plot points, like they're in a garden.
They're in a garden
doing something strange, and
what,
then
but does it tell us?
On them.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. And I don't know. I'm just saying, like, when I'm writing that story, what am I saying? Other than when you see the parallels that there's all these other rituals going, you're like, oh, they were telling kind of a mystery right story, like all these other texts would put in their religion.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. If you want to posit that, that's fine. But like, where are we getting these details about purple from? It doesn't say purple. Where are we getting details about medicated bandages? It doesn't say medicated. If you want to posit that something ritual is going on, fine. But we just can't. The details is like we're just making shit up at this point.
Gotcha.
Like I don't have a problem with positing something weird. Like I said, Morton Smith had this idea that there's some pederasty going on here. Maybe I don't know.
I think that's pretty clear. I think maybe when everybody's making slam videos back and forth, that might not. That part's not considered, and it's like the idea that, well, you're wrong, and it's like, no, you're wrong, and then it's just you're wrong back and forth. And
yeah, I don't really care about. I'm not saying that I have the right answer. I'm just pointing out that there are people lying about this. That's all I'm pointing out.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
yeah.
What BS, right? A burial shroud. So these guys can't take it.
Even though it's used as a burial, it's burial shroud. What BS?
It's a man in a burial shroud. It's not this picture from 1500. It's a man. And this guy actually said it's a man in a burial shroud or a tunic.
Pause.
Who else can't take this?
Pause.
Oh,
this guy.
Oops.
We literally have primary sources from antiquity that say a sindone is a burial shroud. He's saying that those sources don't matter because I have a painting from 1522.
Give me 1 minute. I gotta pee.
All right, hit play.
Guy can't take it, and neither can this guy. This guy doesn't even know what the word Christon means. It's unbelievable. These clowns, these friggin' clowns. The clownery is incredible. So we got to move it over and ask them some questions. So here are the questions. Are you ready, guys? Here are the questions for you. We're going to go with your age. The dude's 25 years old.
Okay.
25 years old was this guy. This is, for the last, 500 years, this has been wrong. He wasn't a prepubescent boy.
No one ever said he was prepubescent.
He was a 25-year-old bearded man. So
pause it when you get back.
10 fake scholars. Why was Jesus with a naked 15 to 30-year-old male in the middle of the night in the Garden of Gethsemane? What was he doing there? And he would have been the 33-year-old Jesus, and there would have been the naked dude and the other 3 guys who were there. How old were they?
Pause it.
Under
Pause
20.
it.
Yeah, okay.
Pause it.
So,
okay. Number one, no one has ever said, anyone besides Amon Hillman has ever said this is a prepubescent child. That painting that you're showing does not indicate this is a prepubescent child. It's just a fucking painting. There's nothing, you can't just go off a painting and pretend that you know what the painter wanted to say. There's no scholars, there's no church fathers, there's no academics, nothing. No historian has ever said this is a prepubescent child. Only Amon Hillman. So when he made the very gaslighting statement that for the last 500 years, we've all been wrong and these scholars came along and changed it. That didn't happen. It's the only person who's done that is Amon Hillman. For the last 2,000 years, everyone has been calling this a young man. And Amon Hillman decided that it has to be a prepubescent child because he has a theory about some Yos rite that he made up. Number two, then he goes on to say let's say you're right. It's a 25-year-old. What is he doing with a 25-year-old naked man? I don't fucking know, dude. There's 20 theories about this. I'm not here to defend the Bible. I'm asking the same. I think it's weird too. I've always said that. It's a weird passage. Is there a mimesis going on? Is it a resurrection which is what the church says? I don't know. They all sound weird to me. It's all very unclear. But what I do know is that there's no purple penis being mentioned, and there's no pre-puberty child being mentioned, and there's no drugs being mentioned. There's none of that's mentioned. Yeah. So the only people making stuff up and are being clowns here is Amon Hillman and you, because you're doing the apologetics for it. So this whole video, all you've done is highlighted that I've provided the correct primary sources, but you still decide to call me a clown. I just don't understand the point of the video. I just don't understand why he uploaded this. What was the point? Yeah. You've shown that your brain is no longer in your head. It's gone. It's on the floor at this point. Continue.
So if it was very obvious that Jesus was 33, a bearded 33-year-old man, and they all know who Jesus was, why did Judas show up and deliver to Jesus a sensuous make-out kiss in the garden? And this is from the Interlinear Bible.
So this shows you that this guy has no idea about like Mediterranean culture, because even like in Italian and in Greek and Egyptian as well, kissing men kiss other men all the time. This is like normal.
Is there something in the verb of how he kissed him that was?
Let's take a look at it.
That's the word he has on the screen there now.
Let's take a look. Mark 14:40. Was it Mark 14:45?
There was another thing I wanted. I just thought of. I don't know if you guys noticed this too. The biblical times thing is kind of strange. So the Bible seems to be the only one that references itself to prove itself in the historical context of what it says is happening. You know what I mean? So like,
well, here's the thing. He just asked me
outside stuff.
He just asked me. He just asked me.
Yeah.
Let's say he's 25 years old. Okay, he might be, according to the definition Dionysius goes. Why is Jesus in the garden with a 25-year-old? I don't think this story is historically accurate. I don't think this is not in a nails.
It's a cult text. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't care. I don't really care why he was there. Only the author really knows what the fuck he's talking about here. It's a weird story. There might have been some trope that made sense back in that time, but like, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. Like, I don't know why you think that I should have to answer that for Amon to be wrong. You know what I mean? Like, there's no dichotomy between Amon being wrong and me having to know everything. That's ridiculous. That's like me. That's like someone saying, I think the Big Bang is wrong. I think we are actually inside of our universe is located inside of the testicles of a moose.
That sounds cool.
It sounds cool, right? But imagine me going, I think you're wrong. I don't think we're in the testicle of a moose. I don't see any evidence of that. And then then you going, well, tell me everything about the universe right now. And if you can't tell me everything about the universe, then I'm right. Yeah. It's like, no, you could still be wrong. I still don't have to know the answers.
Yeah. The idea of absolute right and wrong is definitely a trap.
Like,
dichotomous thinking is a trap. Like I don't like it.
Yeah.
So that word. That word.
You go ahead.
Yeah, he's asking about the kiss thing. If you look up that word, like, it means like an amorous, a loving kiss, right?
Woo-hoo.
It's like, or a tenderly kiss, like, but I just don't know if you can sit there and say this is like a homosexual thing. You want to know why?
Well, I mean, homosexuality is kind of like an invented word too, isn't it?
Like but he just asked, why is Judas making out with Jesus? Bro, no offense, but this is so scatterbrained now, because we read the text. This is a story. This is a myth. Judas is the betrayer
in a loving way in another story where they're like making out, where they're like sucking face somewhere else.
No, they don't describe it that way, but they talk about it being tenderly. They talk about being like
when it's between two lovers.
Like one of the sources is from Xenophon, where he says she kissed the side of the chariot.
Oh, do you have this brought up?
So and it uses the same word. So
Okay.
like it's a chariot though.
Yeah.
So is she making out with a chariot?
It's like it definitely would make sense cult wise, right? That's two cult texts.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's just a kiss. It's just a word for kiss. Like if you're gonna say this means it has to be making out, then how come I can find a source from Xenophon where it says she kissed the side of the chariot? Mm-hmm. Is she going to a chariot, or did she just walk up to it and go,
of passion or something?
Yeah,
like
she just walked up to it and kissed it. That's it. It's a kiss. It's just the word for fucking kiss, man. Like they're trying. This is what I mean about Amen.
Like, and I just find the whole ears to hear thing just a cop out to put any meaning to any word you want.
Yeah. Oh, if you don't have ears to hear, you won't see it. Like it's just like, okay, now everything you said is right. But okay, so like but here's the thing: Mediterranean culture, kissing was big. You would kiss your sons, you would kiss your daughter, you would kiss your friends goodbye. And in this particular case, the gospel author has Judas kiss Jesus because he tells the soldiers, the one I kiss is the one you need to arrest, and he does it. And it's Mark's way of using like a poetic, the one who betrayed me kissed me, the kiss of betrayal. It becomes a trope in its own sense. You know what I mean? People say like the kiss of betrayal. Well, I don't know why you think this because it's like this is like little kids, dude. It's like we're talking like little third graders. He kissed them. Like, come on, be a fucking adult here.
What?
And what does this have to? By the way, what does this have to do with the kid anymore that ran away?
Sure.
Is he implying this is some sort of orgy going on now, and Judas is getting involved?
Well, what do you think about? Someone put some comment. I haven't even read any of these comments. Someone says something about the with the spitting in the dirt and rubbing it in people's eyes and all of that other stuff. Like, does that show any other additional context of like other cults that have done rituals like that and stuff like that, and that these plot points are also in the story? I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, isn't there? I
mean, a lot of it's similar to PGM rituals, but that doesn't really.
Yeah, I mean that all that I've been telling you since the beginning.
We don't have any other.
Yes, those stuff that stuff exists in the ancient world, but what does that have to do with Mark? That's what I'm asking you.
Well, I don't know. It's like I'm just saying it's the same type of cultic texts and plot points and stuff. It's like saying there's two different vipers.
Wait a minute, hold on. There's a source.
Just because a viper has fangs over here, this viper doesn't have fangs. I don't know.
There's a source where there's a source that says that Augustus. Let me think. There's a source that said Augustus took a shit in a forest. So I think in Mark 14, Jesus is taking a shit. Why? It's in Suetonius for Augustus. Why can't it be in Mark? It's the same thing. I can point to any source that I want to and say Maximus of Tyre. Hold a Maximus of Tyre. Let's see. It says right here that like manner with respect to love, it is the same time passion.
Yeah.
United with reason. If you take away reason, you disturb some. That's not going to work. Hold on. Let me find something better. He inserts it in ivory with gold. Nestor was doubtless a wise man. So I have a source right here where it says that he inserted into his house ivory and gold. And I think when Jesus walked into the house of Peter, he inserted ivory and gold in there too. It's just like, why does one source have to equal the other source? Why does one source determine what happens to the other source?
I'm trying to think of another example. Okay, the frankincense, you just said something about ivory and gold, but the frankincense and myrrh and the magi, they're like, hey, there's 3 magi that came and visited this dude. And you're like, cool. And no one asks who the magi were. Well, seems like they were freaking pretty wild drug wielding dudes and dudettes, you know.
The magi were known for that.
Yeah. Then, okay, so like they just magically appear and then everything else in the Bible story is completely made up, but these crazy drug people appear and that just happens to be random.
No, but the source tells us the source tells us that magi showed up with drugs, with myrrh and frankincense. We don't have to imagine that they did. It tells us
But
that
we
it did.
didn't know those were drugs until recently. We just thought that
No,
Jesus
we've
was
always
giving
known myrrh.
gifts.
I just showed you a source from Plutarch.
No, not we, like within this circle. I'm talking about like the last few years. That's not even been a question I've ever heard in any Christian circles. Is like, who the hell were the Magi? And then you're like, oh, they were crazy
Christians
cult.
don't care.
No, that's not
They were
true.
cult rituals.
There's been scholars going back to this German scholars that talk about the Magi being wizards.
Right. So
yeah, that's
like,
it's everyone
clear that
knows.
There's like cult ritual happening there, but there's no cult ritual.
But it doesn't necessarily mean it's cult ritual. Cult ritual is very specific to like things you do at the temple. Just because a Magi shows up with some frankincense and myrrh doesn't necessarily mean they're doing cult ritual. It just means some Magi's, who are some wizards that do drug shit sometimes, showed up
for the Son of God.
Showed up for the Son of God. It sounds normal to me. It does. For the ancient world, that's a normal story.
Yeah.
Like start reading primary sources from antiquity. There's tons of wizards doing weird shit. It's just common. But the thing, I'm not denying that this exists. I'm just saying you have to point to a text and that's describing the thing that you want to be.
Yeah. So I think it's good to ask for evidence, man. For sure.
Yeah. And I just think this dude's completely gaslighting people by calling me a fraud and whatever he's saying. I'm a clown, and all I'm doing is following the evidence and going, I'm not convinced by this. I think he's lying about this. And he's just upset about it. That's just this whole video was just him crying about me for no reason. He didn't present anything that I'm wrong about. All he did was go, he showed these primary sources and I don't like them. Here's a 1522 painting. That's it. Yeah. That's the entire video summed up. So
I think a friendly conversational debate's a shitty word nowadays, but like maybe if it's something
I'm down to have a conversation as long as he can, as long as if I put his feet to the fire and say, provide me a primary source for your purple penis, and if he can provide it, then let's do it.
I think that's what we're missing too. Like if there's a way to do it where not like full competition style, but where someone like witch doctors in the middle kind of just being like, okay, you know,
a mediator.
Like, you've got that point. Yeah, mediators kind of, we got that point. Let's see okay, that point's now that. Do we agree it's on that point? Okay, and then try to stay away from the personal attacks that make it. I mean, I know that can make it fun and stuff, but there's a certain point where
I agree.
What the hell are we all doing here?
No, I agree. The personal attacks thing.
Never look for the next step, the next thing to build on.
But when have I ever personally attacked Seaman?
No, you haven't.
Never.
No, I'm just saying in general, like the dynamic of debates online and stuff. Like
he just came out of nowhere. He just came out of complete left field, called me a clown, called me a liar, and then I replied in the comments accordingly, matching his energy, and then he puts a whole nother video out today saying that I was like completely I was uncalled for what Gnostic Informant did. Bro, you just came out of left field making a video about me, calling me a clown and a liar.
Yeah. No, I got you.
For no reason.
Yeah.
And then when I reply to you, and then it's like you as you're lashing out, you're crying, going, stop, as he's lashing out at me. Yeah. That's crazy. I can't stand people like that. Like groveling rats. This guy's a groveling rat, bro. This guy's Seaman guy. That's how I picture in my head. A little groveling rat with semen all over his face.
Good God.
That's how I picture him in my head when I hear him. He's
Jesus Christ in the garden with a naked boy.
Yeah. A groveling rat, bro. Trying to get any ounce of clout from Amen that he can get. That's sad. You're a boomer that's trying to get clout off of
easy. Don't go too personal.
He is clout chasing. He is clout chasing.
He's definitely clout chasing.
I'll bring up an example from Amen's show about how he.
You're right. No, you're right. I'm glad you pointed that out. I should stick to the text, but it's just, I got called a liar and I got called.
Oh, yeah. No, so, I get the anger for sure.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm done. I just wanted to, I'm glad you let me do that today. So.
Yeah, no problem. Witch Doctor had to go to bed, man. So I'll bring this up before we end. But because Chase was asking about how Amen. Or Chase was asking about examples from his show. So Amen brought this up on his show the other day.
Can we show the example and then I can think about it, sleep on it? My brain power is like starting to power.
Yeah, I have it on the screen. It's on the screen right here. So Amen tried to use this to prove that there's the echidnaic priesthood because the word echidna is there, the first word in yellow there. But if you actually read what this passage says, I have a crappy
echidna just
translation.
means, guys, echidna means snake. I hope you guys know that.
Yeah. But the word
echidna does not necessarily mean it's the goddess Echidna. I hope this is like abundantly clear right now. You guys know that?
Yeah, it's viper.
I didn't know that.
It could mean viper. Yeah, it could mean viper, or it means snake.
But what this passage is talking about, it's talking about having doubt in reading scripture, but it talks about making medicine from the bringing proper medicine out from your doubts, like a medicine man makes medicine from the viper's venom. And then at the end, the last words there, like Moses and like Jesus. This talks about how Jesus brings proper meaning from the scripture, and I'm gonna try to use it to say it's about the ecumenic priesthood.
Okay, what it says kai pisteuete hoti I en autoi aspides kai I en autoi echidne. So serpents or snakes or vipers. Aton otera ginontai apo ton pharmacon drug ton pharmacon. So basically, let them believe that the shields in it, let them believe that the shields in it and the vipers and the echidnae, or the snakes, become weaker because of the pharmacon of the sorcerers of magic, or the pharmacon, like the druggers, basically. That's what it means. So it's like it's from that's that passage. But it's very I don't know what he's talking about. What's the greater? Should we go to the greater passage? Like where's the
this is just what he had.
This is
just
very,
what he had
very
on the
random.
screen.
It's like a little random snippet.
Yeah, the translation I have for it is, when it is not understood, at times the listener becomes weary and discouraged. Yet let him trust that the aspen vipers within it lose their strength through the remedies prepared by the skillful, by the wise Moses, by the wise Jesus, and by other sages.
Okay, I started off on this. I just read the sentence, but you went the sentence before that. Which you're right. Read that. Freeze that first sentence again.
Yeah, I have this. I came up with this myself. It's a shitty translation, but when it is not understood, at times the listener becomes weary and discouraged. And what's not understood is talking about the scripture here. So when the scripture is not understood, at times the listener becomes weary and discouraged. Yet let him trust that the aspen vipers within it lose their strength through remedies prepared by the skillful, by the wise Moses, by the wise Jesus, and by other sages. So it's talking about.
I want to bring some nuance
letting.
No, I'm glad that I can actually fucking help Amin for once, because he's actually correct that yes, you would the translation you gave with remedies of the remediers or whatever, is coming off the word pharmacon or pharmacon. So that word pharmacon and pharmaconer, that's what I'm basically translating it, like a Christer. That means like drugs and druggist. So
it sounds like they're describing a whole drug ritual there.
He's used. So this is common for Origen. Origen and Clement of Alexandria would do this, and they would use this certain language of they would use Clement of Alexandria uses Bacchic language to describe Christianity in a text called the Protrepticus, where he's basically saying, become a maiden for Christ. And the Song of Orpheus is actually the Song of Christ. He does this really cool way of retelling Greek mythology for Jesus. What Origen's doing here is he's using sort of like the medical language for healing and being recovered. He's basically saying, but Amin pointing this out. I understand.
Seem metaphorical though. Like everything in there doesn't seem like metaphorically.
What's being said here is, if you have doubts about what you're reading in the scripture, let people and powerful sages remove those doubts, like those who make medicine from the viper's venom. It's talking about removing doubt from your interpretation of the scripture, like the pharmacos removes the venom, the poison from the venom to make remedies.
Okay.
Now this is a classic Amin move, where he flashes Greek on the screen like this, and you see echidnae and you see pharmacon, and you just listen to what he says, and he kind of just goes, "See, it's all about drugs." Origen admitted it.
Yeah, that's what he did. He was like, see, this is the ecumenic priesthood and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's
so
not.
you're saying that it's translated as not as let this process do X, Y, Z, let the snake venoms do this, that they're using it as a metaphor to say, let these teachers, in relation to scripture, take
Remove
out
your doubts from it. Yeah,
remove
it's
the
saying let
doubts.
this.
If
Yeah,
the
it's
scripture,
And the word
it's like this.
scripture and stuff is in there.
Yes,
Well,
yes,
yeah.
yes, it is. If the scripture is not understood,
Okay.
sometimes the listener grows weary and discouraged. But let him believe that the shield's in it. This is the part that I read that I thought I was looking at the part you highlighted.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
let him believe that the shield's in it and the vipers in it become weakened by the drugs of those who practice pharmakeia. For example, Moses and Jesus, the wise ones.
Oh, so they were practicing pharmakeia. So that's what they were saying.
He's saying he's using, it's actually a simile here.
No, I know the simile with the writing, but it says like just as these magicians practice this viper stuff.
Oh yeah, the magi. Yeah, you were just saying the magi are drug people. That's why I was agreeing with you. Yeah.
Jesus and Abraham. So it's like
no, this is a good. I'm not. I think this is a very fascinating source for people for someone like Amen to present. They're likening Jesus and Moses to a magi who use drugs and serpent venom.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It's turning. It's like cool let Jesus remove the doubt from your scripture reading, just like the pharmakoi removes the poison from the venom to make medicine. Right?
Yeah.
There's nothing there that you have to force. There's a clear metaphorical simile happening there, but it's also very fascinating that they would use that. They would use that as an example.
Well, yeah, they're probably well known for that and like really good at it and stuff.
I'm not closed off.
They were drug using wild man.
I'm not closed off. I'm not closed off to the idea that Christian or early Christians were applying some of this stuff. I've showed the source. I've showed the source of Marcus the magician, who was an early Christian who got caught putting psychedelics in the Eucharist.
Yeah.
So but all I'm asking people to do,
this is a cool one.
All I'm asking, someone in the comments, right? This Nassim, they're snake people. All I'm asking people to do is just be honest about the sources. That's it.
Thank you. Hey man, I really enjoyed talking to you, man. I appreciate you coming on here and like jibber jabbering. I've been busy on other stuff for a while, but yeah, let's do it. I mean, if you're cool with it, yeah, it'd be cool to do it again. And like that text was, I feel like, man, I want to get a hold of that whole thing and see.
Yeah, that was a good test. That was a good text to end on because I love shit like that.
Yeah.
Have another. You want to read another one that's just like that? Clement of Alexandria.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Exhortation to the Greeks, and there's tons of imagery like that, where he's using Bacchic. He uses Bacchic imagery to describe Christianity.
If you can bring it up, I'll share it for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna close this up now.
Yeah,
but
let's
we'll do it next time.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Mustafa already had to go to sleep because he had to get up for work. So I'll end the stream off. But if you guys have anything to say before we go, then
no, I appreciate it. I think it's just a brand new, big, beautiful, wide world, and just got to keep building. And yeah, man, it's growing pains and speed bumps, I think. But I think most people are here for finding good stuff. It's just weeding through the medium of YouTube and the culture and everything that's going on right now. But I don't know, a lot of cool stuff happening, in my opinion, historically, and things coming together. So
yeah. All right, guys, it was nice talking to you.
Yeah, man.
Right,
let's see if Seaman. We'll see if Seaman will run or actually come on here.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
Good. See you, buddy.
All right, guys.